If I said I was joking just now, would you believe it? Vados confessed, with a smile on his face, once again refreshing everyone's perception of her. Unexpectedly, she was such a Vados. What do you mean? Vegeta raised his brows, and he was a little surprised at Vados' reaction. Vados showed a depressed look, weak and weak. Could you tell me, what ability did you use just now? She is really depressed. Prior to this, she felt that she already knew Vegeta very well, about Vegeta's strength and abilities. So she thinks she wants to do something, she must be 100% sure. Otherwise she will not show such a completely different posture from usual. Because she didn't worry that this kind of thing would leak out. But how could she think that Vegeta could really resist her ability? She couldn't figure out what this ability was. Then, maybe you just talk about it first. If you succeed today, what are you going to do with us? Vegeta was also curious about this question. He really didn't expect Vados to have such a dark side. If she were to succeed, the consequences would be disastrous. The winner is the king and the loser is Ko. When his ability is completely invalid, his strength is far inferior to Vegeta. At this time, Vados is the meat on the chopping board. After all, confession is lenient, resistance is strict, and maybe you have a better attitude of cooperation, and you can also strive for a more lenient result. Therefore, Vados did not conceal this question, and even said it in more detail than Vegeta asked. Her abilities are actually different from Zeno's elimination rules, but they are essentially the same. They belong to the essential rules of the universe. All creatures in the universe, including gods of destruction, are irresistible. This ability is called the power of detachment, the ability to transcend the boundaries of the universe. Every angel hides this ability, and Zeno's elimination rules are also based on the power of detachment, but Zeno's ability is more powerful. But even so, Angel, who possesses this kind of detachment, is not in the ranks of Zeno's elimination. So even if Zeno erases all the 12 universes, Angel can be detached and won't be erased. To put it simply, the power of detachment is an energy at a higher level than the divine energy. After the ordinary breath evolves, it is the God energy, and after the God energy evolves, it is the power of detachment. In terms of rules, superpowers and magic are the rules after evolution, and above the rules are the laws of fusion's power of detachment. So strictly speaking, Zeno's ability to eliminate is not a rule, but a rule. Vegeta didn't know this setting until this time, and finally knew what the kind of energy contained in the seed of the universe was. It was the power of detachment. Now he has analyzed this ability, has also mastered the power of detachment, applied it to the rules, and initially understood the rules. Because of this, he was able to resist Vados' abilities. In the beginning, Vados was only unprepared and restricted the energy transfer, but when he used the power of detachment, the energy had been restored. As for how Vados intends to deal with them, it is actually very simple. She will kill all the people present, including Vegeta, erase all traces, and then find the Dragon of God to make a wish and clone a group of the same people. And these cloned people, although they maintain the same wisdom and memory, they will obey her. As long as her idea can be realized, no one will find the flaw. This kind of thinking was also inspired by Son Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr., which Son Gohan had created. After listening to Vados' words, everyone felt speechless, and even had some resentment towards the dead Gohan. I have already said what I should say and what I should not say. For the face of my cooperation, Mr. Vegeta, can you give me a little bit of information and don't worry about me? Vados showed a pitiful appearance, and said with a hint of coquettish tone, "From now on, I will correct my attitude. No matter what you say, I will firmly implement it." After all, it is an existence that has lived for hundreds of millions of years, and Vados doesn't want to end his life just like that. It was difficult to accept at first because she regarded Vegeta as a person like other natives, but now that she knew that Vegeta also possessed the power of detachment, she naturally put down her posture. You think it's too simple, right? Before Vegeta spoke, Xiaofang spoke first. She looked at Vados and sneered. When you want to do it, and beg for mercy if you can't beat it. If you let you go like this, you won't let you choose all the cheapness. How can there be such a good thing in this world? Vegeta agrees that we can't assume that nothing has happened. Not only Xiaofang had this idea, but others were the same. Even Bulma, who had a good relationship with her, couldn't accept it. Vados looked stiff, but he didn't dare to say anything. He just put on an aggrieved appearance, lowered his head like an airbag, and seemed to be talking silently. Let's do it with you. Of course she couldn't be so obedient in her heart, but she also knew about Vegeta's character. At this time, she was a little more docile, and perhaps she could really gain tolerance. However, if she has a different mind, today's level will be difficult to pass. So even if Xiaofang was being taught by such an existence like an ant in her eyes, she still didn't dare to feel dissatisfied, for fear of arousing Vegeta's disgust. At this time, Vados had already secretly regretted it in her heart. If she had known that this was the result, she had lowered her posture early, and nothing would have happened. Of course, Vegeta knew that Vados was only confessing now, and there is no guarantee of what will happen in the future. But he can't really kill Vados. Although he is not afraid to start a war with the Grand Priest, he is still different from being active and passive. He is not ready for an all-out battle. You said, what should I do with her? Vegeta could only look at the girls and ask their opinions. Bulma opened her mouth, but didn't say anything, just shook her head and turned to another position. On this matter, she is not prepared to express an opinion. On the 18th, she spoke, and she coldly snorted. If it was my own business, I would definitely kill her. Of course she knows that Vados' identity is more sensitive, so she only said if, and did not really propose that Vegeta kill Vados. So when she said this sentence, she was just expressing her own discomfort. Others either have no opinion or have concerns, and don't want to cause problems to Vegeta because of their emotions, so they all frown and don't have a good suggestion. I have a very good idea. Xiaofang raised his hands and smiled, with an eager expression on his face, looking quite excited. Vegeta's heart moved. Talk about it. Xiaofang is not a peaceful girl. Maybe she can really think of some good ideas. Compared with the curiosity of Vegeta and Bulma and others, Vados looked on guard. If Vegeta punished her, she would not be too vigilant. Because she believes that as long as she truly admits her mistakes, Vegeta's character will not embarrass her too much. After all, Vegeta has absolute strength, and she is not afraid of turning the sky over. But Xiaofang, a ghost-like girl, is different, and God knows what weird ghost ideas will come up. Hee. Xiaofang smiled and said, before that, Vegeta restricted her first limit. How do you say it? Action. Beckett raised his brows and didn't ask much. He directly used the half-hanging law to limit Vados' body and energy. Vados trembled. I want to oppose, but I have been restricted. I can't even open my mouth, let alone make a protest. She could only pray secretly in her heart, hoping that Xiaofang, the ghost girl, would not do anything too out of the ordinary. Although Vegeta lifted the restriction by himself in order to prevent her from using the power of detachment, so he directly used the unskilled law, which was enough to completely restrict Vados. However, Vados' posture is indeed very low now, and he did not dare to do anything to provoke Vegeta, otherwise the consequences would be difficult to deal with. Having seen Vegeta's ability to completely surpass her, Vados will no longer idiotically initiate provocations, and now she only hopes that this matter will pass quickly, and is also annoyed by her previous fever. Why couldn't you bear it a little bit? Just simply bow your head and admit a mistake with Vegeta, and the incident may be over. Even if it wasn't, Vegeta would not stop her if she wanted to leave. After all, Vegeta let her go. As a result, she was guilty for a while and provoked Vegeta's majesty, and finally fell. This bitter fruit, she is just a little nervous now, but then, she will soon know what a real devil is. Hey. Xiaofang didn't explain what she wanted to do, but with a smirk on her face, she walked towards Vados, who was already unable to move, and walked around behind him. Xiaofang. What do you want to do? Chi-Chi seems to really think of Xiaofang as his granddaughter, and is very concerned about her, and a little nervous about Xiaofang's weird behavior. She was worried that Xiaofang would do something strange that would arouse other people's disgust, and it would be difficult to integrate into this big family at that time. But obviously, she still didn't know Xiaofang well, or that Xiaofang's brain was beyond her understanding. When everyone was watching curiously, Xiaofang suddenly took off Vados' clothes from beginning to end. Puff. Vegeta sprayed instantly. The other people looked at each other for a while, their expressions on their faces were dumbfounded, and they couldn't understand Xiaofang's behavior at all. In this case, you have no secrets, do you? Xiaofang smiled and said next to Vados. I think your promise just now cannot be guaranteed at all. If you want you to really be at heart with Vegeta, the best way is to become Vegeta's woman, so that you don't think twice, but I think about Vegeta wholeheartedly. So you should thank me. I have thought of such a good way for you, so that you can prove your determination, and you don't have to make Vegeta headache how to deal with you, right? Xiaofang's statement made everyone speechless for a while, but after careful consideration, it really made sense. Of course, Vados, unable to move, could not express his opinion, but his body trembled a little, and his face started from the base of his neck and was flushed all the way up. The pale blue skin was stained red, and it really seemed to have a strange smell. Puff. With Bulma as the leader, the girls finally smiled after a while. I have to say that Xiaofang, the ghost girl, is really different from ordinary people, and she thought of such a tricky way. Being able to see Angel Vados, who is very arrogant and gentle in the ordinary days, stands in front of him in this embarrassment, which really makes people feel strangely relaxed. Hey, although it is correct to say that, Xiaofang, are you sure she won't betray when she becomes Vegeta's woman? And Vegeta already has 2 wives, and you actually paid it back. He found one more, so he didn't ask Bulma and Chi-Chi's opinion first? It was Kayan who was talking. She didn't seem to understand the relationship between men and women very well, but she still knew the basic common sense. There are many couples who will betray each other. How can Xiaofang be sure that Vados will not betray after becoming Vegeta's woman? And just simply taking off their clothes, they are not considered to be Vegeta's women. Are they really going to have them put on a live broadcast here? Of course, as the Supreme Kai of Time, she has lived for hundreds of thousands of years. She has seen a lot of things. Naturally, she doesn't care about these things. She just doesn't understand Xiaofang's brain circuits. Ahem, Xiaofang. What Kayan said is right. This kind of thing can't be facilitated by your wishful thinking. Don't say whether Vados will listen to you because of this, even if she agrees. You have to ask first. The opinions of Bulma and Chi-Chi are good. This kind of thing can't be random. Although Vegeta was a little surprised, his desire to survive was still very strong at this time. Even if he secretly praised Xiaofang's wit, he couldn't show it on the bright side. However, now that they have accepted 2 women serving one husband together, the 3 views of Bulma and Chi-Chi have long been refreshed. Maybe if Vegeta finds another woman, they will feel uncomfortable, but it's not totally unacceptable, as long as this matter is good for Vegeta. Besides, they already knew that there was another woman whose Bulma was Vegeta in the second time and space. There were more than 2 of them long ago. Bulma shook her head and said, if you can really make Vados our sister, as Xiaofang said, I have no opinion. However, Vados must guarantee that things like today and her previous attitude will definitely won't show up again. Chi-Chi hesitated for a moment, and then said, for me, as long as Vegeta treats me well, I am satisfied. I have no greater pursuit in this life. Well, Bulma is rational, Chi-Chi is emotional. But no matter what kind, they have long since fallen in love with Vegeta. Since being with Vegeta, the caring and care that Vegeta has brought to them has changed their perceptions. Just like Chi-Chi said, being with Vegeta is the greatest happiness, but the other side is just the end. And after following Vegeta, they are basically not too old to die, and the days are still long, but having more sisters is a good thing. Look, see, they have no objection, and you were actually very happy, Vegeta. I heard that as long as you are a man, you have no dislike for beautiful girls. Vados should look pretty, right? Xiaofang was carrying Vados' underwear in her hand and tossed it triumphantly. Vados has long been too embarrassed. If it weren't for her body to move, she would really like to put the same thing on Xiaofang once to see if Xiaofang could laugh. Vegeta slapped his forehead and said helplessly, where did you hear this argument? Don't care where I heard it, just say I did not make a mistake. Xiaofang's face became even more smug. At least Vegeta did not stop her, indicating that he did not object to this matter. The fact is true, and Vegeta does not object to Xiaofang's doing this. It's not that he is so anxious for Vados. After all, in the current situation of Vegeta, what kind of woman he wants is a very simple matter. There is no need to shoot Vados in this situation. He is not evil. Taste. Vegeta just thinks that someone like Vados can just use this to frustrate her spirit, and it is best to crush the arrogance in her heart, and perhaps be able to stay by his side sincerely. In fact, Vegeta didn't want to just let Vados go. With Vados, Vegeta would make many things easier. And if you can make good use of the relationship with Vados, it will also avoid future conflicts with Grand Priest. Although Vegeta is not afraid, it is good to be less troublesome. So when she heard Xiaofang's words, Vegeta followed her with a smile and said, you can't say that you are wrong, but your statement is a bit extreme, and everything is scored. Xiaofang seemed to hear Vegeta's implication, tilted his head and asked, what is the situation now? Well. Vegeta groaned, his eyes scanning Vados unscrupulously. Vados couldn't squint his eyes, couldn't speak with his mouth, and couldn't move his body. His heart was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. If it were before today, she would never have taken a fancy to Vegeta. In her eyes, even if she is as strong as Vegeta, she is just a universe native, and she is not worthy of her at all. But now his thinking has changed somewhat. People like Vegeta who are soaring through his own efforts are definitely a huge potential stock. If there is any relationship between the two, it is Vados that takes advantage. However, the premise is not here, let alone her being controlled by others. Of course it's not the kind of situation you were talking about now. As a result, Vegeta turned around and said to Xiaofang, "In your eyes, I am the kind of person who can only think with the lower body." Ahem. Chi-Chi reminded from behind, "Xiaofang is still a child, don't say such things in front of her." "What? People are already in high school, where are children? And I have done a lot of things that adults can do." "No. It's something that many adults can't do." Xiaofang was immediately unhappy. "What can an adult do?" Chi-Chi was taken aback for a moment, obviously misunderstood. Hearing this tone, Xiaofang immediately understood that Chi-Chi wanted to turn aside, and said in embarrassment, "It's a bandit. I often help the police to catch criminals. How can you as a child do such a dangerous thing?" Chi-Chi was startled suddenly. As a result, Xiaofang had to refute again. This building was obviously crooked, and Vegeta could only intervene first. Xiaofang is really amazing, and now he is also a top player on the planet. However, you should help Vados wear clothes first. Get up, I have thought of another way to punish her. Cut it. I don't care about this. Xiaofang tossed Vados' clothes aside, and ran to Chi-Chi with small steps, turning her head back and making a grimace at Vados. Slightly. "Xiaofang, you can think of such a way, it is really fun, remember to remind me next time, I also want to help." Blah leaned over to Xiaofang, with the same expression of excitement. The girl in the rebellious period, the thinking is really unusual. Xiaofang smiled and said, "I also had a brainstorm for a while, but it's a pity that Vegeta doesn't cooperate, otherwise it will be more fun." "Fortunately, you didn't cooperate, otherwise you would really dare to watch it." Beulah is not as enthusiastic about this matter as Xiaofang, she just thinks it's fun to pick up other girls' clothes in public. "Is there anything I don't dare to watch?" Xiaofang curled his lips and didn't care, but despised Beulah. "You are so timid. Many boys in school use their mobile phones to watch such small movies. I have seen them a long time ago. What's the big deal?" Beulah's pretty face suddenly turned red. Although she was not as free as Xiaofang, she was naturally exposed to that kind of things. In this era of resource sharing, this kind of thing is nothing unusual. But after all, girls are thin-skinned, and broad does not mean that. She leaned into Xiaofang's ear and whispered, "But, are you really willing to see Vegeta making out with other women? Can you accept this kind of thing?" Xiaofang, who was still smiling, suddenly became stiff. Bulu said that she hadn't thought about it yet. Now I was reminded that I immediately agreed with Bra's words, that fortunately, Vegeta did not cooperate. They took the initiative to follow Vegeta to leave their time and space, naturally not simply for gaining insight, of course, it was also a different kind of thinking that a spring girl had. Although I know that there is more than one wife of Vegeta, I know that Gui knows that it is wise to not see, but it is really unacceptable for them to see this kind of thing with their own eyes. Well, the two little girls murmured and no one cared. Although there are several people who can easily hear them, it is a pity that those who can hear them don't care much, at most they secretly delight in their cuteness. On the other side, Vegeta has let go of control of Vados. After Vados regained his freedom, he immediately put on his clothes as quickly as possible, his face was already red as a ripe apple. But at this moment she behaved quite honestly, just standing there with her head down, waiting for Vegeta to make an announcement. Vegeta did not deny that Xiaofang said she was beautiful and interested in her, which also made Vados secretly happy. And Vegeta didn't bully her under the noses of so many people, and it made her secretly grateful. Intertwined with a variety of emotions, she has now directly become an obedient little daughter-in-law. Okay. Let's do this for the time being today. Vegeta glanced at Vados and said nothing about it. Of course, things won't be revealed in this way. Vegeta turned to Kane and asked, "Speaking of which, has Frieza's location been found?" Kaien's face was embarrassed, obviously to watch the excitement and forget the business. She spit out her pink tongue and said, "I'm looking for Master Vegeta, let me come." Vados took the initiative to take over. She has never been so active since she followed Vegeta. I have to say that Angel's setting is really like a convenient plug-in aid for gods of destruction. Finding someone in the vast universe is as simple as waving Angel's staff. Soon, Vados found Frieza's position. After Frieza destroyed the Earth, he began to recreate the Frieza Legion, which was likely to sweep the 7th universe. Unfortunately, he was spotted by the Galaxy Patrol. Under the intervention of the Galaxy Patrol, the expansion of the Frieza army was greatly retarded. However, what is surprising is that there is actually Curran Berry, an old member of the Frieza army, in the galactic prison. Karanberg urged a guy named Mo Luo in the prison, opened the prison door, and caused a fire behind the Galaxy Patrol. He didn't have the mind to control the Frieza Legion anymore. Mo Luo is a powerful existence 10 million years ago. He can swallow any living energy and transform it into his own energy, which is roughly equivalent to Son Goku's Spirit Bomb. It's just that Son Goku's Spirit Bomb is used to attack the enemy, while the energy absorbed by Mo Luo is used to strengthen himself. The most important thing is that Son Goku absorbs vital energy and needs to be actively dedicated to him. But Mo Luo can absorb without limit, whether you like it or not, and no matter how powerful you are, as long as he wants to absorb it, he can absorb it. 10 million years ago, Mo Luo ran rampant in the universe, and as he absorbed more and more vitality, his strength became stronger and stronger. When his strength increased to a certain height, he was no longer limited to absorbing the vitality of living beings, but directly swallowing the planet, absorbing all the vitality of the entire planet, including the creatures on it. In this case, the universe was so ruined by him, a large number of life and living planets fell one after another. Obviously, at that time Beerus was also sleeping, and Whis acted like Vados. He would not take the initiative to remind Beerus. Even if the entire universe was destroyed, Whis would not care. Therefore, only Supreme Kai from the 7th universe took the lead, and it turned out that it was no match for Mo Luo. The final result is that the Supreme Kai used a power called Magic Wave, at the expense of consuming most of his magical power, which sealed the magical power of Moro, and was lucky enough to defeat it. At that time, Mo Luo had already been sentenced to death, but because his fighting power was too strong, no one could kill him even if he was sealed with magic power. In desperation, Mo Luo could only be commuted to life imprisonment and detained in Yinhe prison, where he has been detained for 10 million years now. To this day, Mo Luo, who has been unable to mobilize his magic power, is already very old, and is about to come to the end of his life. However, such a character will definitely have some inhuman hole cards, and it is not possible for a mere jail to be locked up. The reason for this tens of thousands of years was calm, only because Mo Luo's ambition was not as good as before. As he ages, he is less and less hopeful about the restoration of his magical powers. However, Curran Berry of the Frieza army told Mo Luo about the 7 Dragon Ball. As long as Mo Luo can regain his youth and absorb a lot of vitality, it will not be difficult to restore his magic power. Mo Luo was persuaded, so the last energy exploded, secretly absorbed the life energy of some other prisoners in the prison, turned it into his own magic power, and escaped the galactic prison. Afterwards, under the guidance of Karanberg, Mo Luo found the location of the new Namek, defeated Son Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. who came to stop there, and successfully used the 7 Dragon Ball to restore his youth. Now Mo Luo is absorbing living planets in the galaxy, and his strength has gradually recovered to its peak. At the same time, Frieza, who was reported by his subordinates, also got in touch with Mo Luo, and the two sides reached an agreement on an offensive and defensive alliance. Nowadays, the entire 7th universe has been covered with a haze under the pressure of Frieza and Mo Luo. It turned out to be so severe. Kaien was also taken aback when he heard the news. After asking about Beerus and learning that the latter was sleeping again and only let Son Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. act as temporary gods of destruction, Kaien was speechless for a while. Son Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. received the news from the Galaxy Patrol and rushed to stop Mura, but Mura absorbed all the energy and was defeated. They almost died in New Namek. But even in the face of this situation, Whis was still there with no worries. Although Angel is neutral, he is in the 7th universe after all, and he is still working with gods of destruction. He is not at all concerned with the power of destroying the universe. Does such a gods of destruction follower really have any meaning? It was not until this time that everyone, including Kaien, understood why Vegeta was angry before. If Frieza had notified Vegeta when he was out of trouble, maybe he wouldn't be out of control as it is now. If Whis is not like Vados, but wakes up Beerus, Mo Luo wouldn't be able to dance so joyfully. But looking at the way Vados looked, she obviously didn't understand this truth. Vegeta didn't say much, but took a brief look at the 7th universe. Son Goku Jr. has returned to the star of Beerus. In order to defeat Mo Luo, he has gone to Whis to practice comfortably. Vegetager realized that his path was different from that of Son Goku Jr., so instead of forcing his self-cultivation, he went to the planet Yadrat. The planet Yadrat is where Son Goku practiced instant transmission. It is said that that planet has a lot of peculiar abilities. Vegetager went there to find a way to defeat the Mo Luo, but in the end he learned incomprehensibility in disguise. Because all the abilities of the planet Audrot are based on powerful energy control, Vegeta Jr. must first practice energy control no matter what he wants to learn. Son Goku Jr. has cultivated half-step at ease, and Vegeta Jr. has also completed half-step at ease. But they are all preparing to defeat Moro. As for Frieza, although they have received the news, they have not officially met. And they don't have the memory of the original Son Goku and Vegeta, and they don't know Frieza, so they focus more on Moro. In that case, let's go find Frieza. Vegeta found out where Frieza was, then snapped his fingers and said, "Lagoos, let me go. Your strength is in the same position as the Golden Frieza. I just take this opportunity to hone it, so this opponent will hand in. Here you are." "Okay, Lord Vegeta." Lagoos laughed happily when she heard that she had her share. As for who the opponent is, she doesn't care at all. As long as she can share the worries for Vegeta, even if she fights for her life, she will definitely defeat her opponent. The third time in space, the seventh universe. At the Galaxy Patrol headquarters, this day ushered in a catastrophic end. After the galactic prison was broken by Moro from the inside, many wicked people were liberated. They killed many galactic patrolmen, and then followed Moro to destroy them everywhere. The Galaxy Patrol sent a large number of personnel to arrest these villains, but most of them fell. Now, there are fewer and fewer people under the Galaxy King. It's just that Moro is burning, looting, and taking resources everywhere. After implementing the 3 lights policy on the living planet, Moro will consume all the vitality. So there hasn't taken the initiative to take care of the Galaxy Patrol, so that the Galaxy Patrol can still support it in the face of today's unfavorable situation. But Moro hadn't come over yet, but the newly established Frieza Legion had already come. "Oh, this universe doesn't need something like the Galaxy Patrol, it's enough to have my universe Emperor Frieza in, so please go and die." Frieza laughed wantonly in an exaggerated tone, leading a large group of evil legions, and directly hit the Galaxy Patrol headquarters. Seeing that the people under his hands were cut like leeks, one after another dying under the hands of the Frieza Legion, the Milky Way King's face was full of horror. "Master Galaxy King, the universe spaceship is ready. Let's leave right away." The Galaxy Patrol elite genius Jake guards the Galaxy King. "What? Do you want me to escape from the dignified Galaxy King?" The octopus's appearance shouted from the Galaxy King's mouth, and his face was obviously moved. Jake took the opportunity to give him a step, and said with a serious face, "This is not an escape, Lord Galaxy King, but a strategic shift, waiting for support." The Galaxy King was obviously more moved, but he still insisted, "Aren't you the elite of the Galaxy Patrol elite? Shouldn't you take the initiative to attack the Frieza Legion? Why wait for support?" Gacker still didn't change his face, and kept a serious expression, saying, "The Frieza Legion is an evil army that is rampant in the universe. It cannot be dealt with by our Galaxy Patrol. This kind of guy should be given to Supreme Kai and Gods of Destruction. Your lord will handle it. If we take the initiative to attack the Frieza Legion, this is a violation of the rules. After all, the Galaxy Patrol only manages the internal affairs of the galaxy, as for the outside of the galaxy." "You're right." The Milky Way King agreed with Gak's words 120,000 points and nodded his head. "The Frieza Legion is not a member of our galaxy, we can't take the initiative to attack them, otherwise it will be law enforcement across the border, so notify everyone to make a strategic shift immediately." The two guys selectively ignored the fact that Frieza took the initiative to call the door, and they were discussing cross-border law enforcement with a serious face. It was extremely shameless. The guards guarding them were speechless for a long time, but they also knew that although the Galaxy King and Gak were shameless, they did make sense. Now the most correct choice is to retreat. If you have to fight hard, the entire Galaxy Patrol headquarters will dissipate here. However, although the Milky Way King was talking about notifying everyone to retreat, someone had to resist the Frieza Legion's attack in the front to make it easier to get out of the rear. So not many people boarded the spaceship in the end, just the Galaxy King plus an elite brigade, and the rest will stay here as cannon fodder. Want to run? Under my nose, this kind of thing is not allowed to happen. Frieza had already noticed the actions of the Galaxy King and others, and the spacecraft had been blocked before it started. "Lord Frieza, just leave this small thing to me, you don't need to bother you to do it yourself." A figure actively blocked in front of Frieza. "Oh, it's Captain Ginyu. I didn't expect that you still have this interest. Then leave it to you. No one can let go." Frieza glanced at the figure, smiled, and returned to his seat. "Go up." He built a small spaceship for himself that was bigger and more domineering than before. After all, he has been showing himself in the fourth form, which is no longer the original form of the year. As for the person who stood in front of him just now, it was Kainu, the captain of the Danin Kainut team. At Namek, he exchanged Son Goku's body but couldn't adapt it and couldn't exert Kaioken's power. As a result, his fighting power was not as good as his original body. After seeing the skyrocketing power of Vegeta, he wanted to exchange Vegeta, but Son Goku, who was first noticed, exchanged it with a toad. After that, Son Goku and his team defeated Frieza and used Shenron to transfer all the people on Namek, including Ginyu who had become a toad. For all these years, Keanu has remained on the Earth. Just this time Frieza was resurrected and brought people to the Earth. He found the opportunity and exchanged bodies with Tagma. So now Ginyu uses the physical body of Tagma, and after training, his strength has exploded. His current combat effectiveness has reached 30 billion, which is much higher than Son Gohan's normal state. Oops, Lord Galaxy King, we were stopped. Gakker's face changed from the universe spaceship fellow. The old god of the Milky Way King was saying, "There is only one person, Jake, go out and solve him." Gak's face was as dark as the bottom of a pot. Let him go out to fight? There is indeed only one person in front of the spaceship, and Jake is confident that he can solve him, but what about after the solution? Even if Frieza won't take the shot himself, as long as the people below surround him, he won't even think about getting on the spaceship. Is the Milky Way King going to abandon him? Hurry up. But before Gactor could think about it, the Galaxy King urged loudly. Jake could only get down from the universe spaceship with a bitter face, and all his anger was vented on Keanu. In front of Jake, my elite genius, the clown jumps on the beam, let me die. Jake yelled loudly, but he drew an energy gun from his waist and fired it at Ginyu. Kinho smiled contemptuously, and slapped the attack of the energy gun into the air with one shot. Lord Frieza said, "Today none of you can run away." Kino's personality has already changed drastically. He didn't talk nonsense with Gak at all, and rushed forward. Seeing this, Gak could not help but his face changed drastically. Seeing that Kinney rushed to the universe spaceship where the Galaxy King was located, and seemed to blow up the entire spaceship, Gak gritted his teeth and pushed it up again. In fact, his strength is far inferior to the current Ginyu, at most hundreds of millions of fighting strength, so even if he is serious, he still can't stop Ginyu. Boom. In the end, the universe spacecraft was blown up under the energy attack of Keanu. With the help of other galaxy patrols, the Galaxy King escaped safely from the explosion, but it was impossible to run. When the Galaxy King was forced out of the universe spacecraft and all the galaxy patrolmen were guarding them, the victory of the Frieza Legion was basically set. Too slow. However, Frieza couldn't wait, and shouted, "You all retreat. I can't wait. I want to make this planet into a beautiful and gorgeous firework." Hearing Frieza say this, the people below basically understood what he meant, and one after another with a smirk, they boarded the universe spacecraft. The faces of the Galaxy King and others were very ugly, and Jake said with a serious face, "My Galaxy King, it seems that Frieza is about to destroy our planet. What should we do now? How do I know what to do? Are you not an elite of the elite? Why can't even one of Frieza's subordinates be able to deal with it? Now that Frieza personally shoots, what can I do?" The Galaxy King has no way to maintain his demeanor. Facing Gak there was a roar. Gak looked embarrassed. Although he left the universe spaceship with emotion, he really did his best at the time. But who would have thought that a Frieza's subordinate is so strong? Even his elite genius of the Galaxy Patrol is far from an opponent. No wonder Frieza has been able to run the universe for so many years. This is really not something that can be done casually. Thinking that way, when faced with the question of the Galaxy King, Jake didn't know how to refute. He could only bow his head and said, "I'm really sorry, Lord Galaxy, if Myers is still there, maybe he will have a way." Although Gacker didn't want to admit that he was inferior to Mel's, the truth is that Mel's is indeed unfathomable. Didn't I tell you? Lord Myers is now an entourage of Lord Champa in the 6th Universe Gods of Destruction, and is also an official angel. You can no longer call his name directly. However, if Lord Myers is here, what is Frieza worth? The Galaxy King was also a little depressed. When Myers was here, no one knew his identity, but Myers' business ability was very strong. Even Guk, who has always been an elite genius, is far inferior, but he just refuses to admit defeat. Who could have imagined that an aloof angel tribe would actually get mixed into the Galaxy Patrol? I didn't make good use of Myers' abilities at the beginning. Now that I know the identity of the latter, it is impossible to use it anymore. Oh, I still like this feeling as expected. The humble ants can be a part of the splendid fireworks, Let me enjoy the eyes of King Frieza, you can be proud even if you die. Turn into the most beautiful firework, planetary destruction bomb. Frieza floated in the void, a huge black-violet energy bomb condensed from her fingertips, and threw it down in laughter. It's over. I didn't expect my dignified Master Galaxy King to die at the hands of these villains, the Galaxy King yelled while holding his head. Why did villains like Frieza appear in the universe, but Supreme Kai and Gods of Destruction did not respond? What can he do with this mere Galaxy King? Although Gak was also very scared, he was more depressed. What he thinks of is not Supreme Kai and Gods of Destruction, but the strong on Earth, or Vegeta who has become the Gods of Destruction. He believed that if Vegeta hadn't left this time and space, Frieza wouldn't be able to jump up. He believed even more that when Vegeta returned, Frieza would definitely not end well, but it was a pity that he hadn't seen this kind of thing anymore. At this moment, the space in front of the Milky Way King and Jake suddenly cracked a crack, and several figures walked out of it one after another. This is. Gak's expression was instantly pleased, and he subconsciously exclaimed, Master Vegeta. That's right. These people who came are exactly the group headed by Vegeta. Following him, in addition to Lagus, Vados, who is a servant of God, of course also came, as well as Xiaofang and Bra. Lagus. Vegeta took a look at the planet Death Bullet that had fallen from a high altitude, and said to Lagus next to him. Understood, Master Vegeta. Lagus gave a chuckle, raised her hands, and countless glasses poured out frantically, quickly forming a big shield to block the planetary death bomb. Boom. The planet death bomb exploded, and all the remaining prestige was blocked by the shield formed by the glass. It did not harm the planet at all, nor did it cause any casualties. It was also at this time that Frieza discovered that there were a few more people on the planet of the Galaxy Patrol headquarters, and he had easily blocked his planetary death bomb. Lagus, as I said before, Frieza will be handed over to you. Just kill him, I don't want to see him again. Vegeta told Lagus. Okay, Master Vegeta. Lagus floated up and attacked Frieza without saying a word. A combination of Son Goku and Vegeta. If I remember correctly, what should it be called Vegeta? Frieza saw the sudden appearance of a few figures clearly, and suddenly sneered. If you do it yourself, I'm still a little afraid, but if you only send a woman over, who are you looking down on? As the so-called enemy meets extremely jealous. Although they have been in heaven all these years, that kind of place is more terrifying to Frieza than hell. Until now, they have finally resurrected. Unfortunately, Son Goku and the others have disappeared. Even if the Earth had been destroyed, the hatred in Frieza's heart could not be released, and now seeing Vegeta, he almost went violently away. Wait for you to defeat Lagus and talk such big talk. Vegeta just glanced at him lightly, not paying attention to Frieza at all. Speaking of which, Cooler in Prison Planet is much stronger than the current Frieza, and the current Frieza is indeed not qualified to be regarded by Vegeta. It's a pity that Frieza doesn't know what Vegeta's vision is. He sneered and said, I know when you have become the Gods of Destruction, but even if Gods of Destruction Beerus is not my opponent now, you wait for me. When I get rid of this woman, you will be the next one. Too much nonsense. Master Vegeta is not something a small character like you can humiliate. Lagus created countless glass flowers directly next to Frieza, and after they bloomed, a continuous explosion shook the world. Damn it. What is this ability? Frieza was caught off guard, and his heart was shocked. The power of this explosion was much stronger than he thought. Even with his power, it could be blown to pieces by accident. At the critical moment, Frieza ignored the concealment and instantly transformed into Golden Frieza, which was worthy of surviving from the explosion. Even so, his stature is still awkward, and Golden Frieza has a lot of burnt black on his body, and he gritted his teeth with anger. As Vegeta expected, the strength of Lagusi and the Golden Frieza were at the same level. After the battle broke out between the two, it was difficult to tell the result in a short period of time. Seeing the battle in the distance, Xiaofang couldn't hold back, and looked forward to Vegeta with a face full of expectation. Can I also take action? Frieza, I am not sure to deal with it, but the remaining small characters will be given to me in Bra. Is it possible? Little Horn doesn't need you. What Vegeta said made Xiaofang's face full of frustration, but before she could say anything, Vegeta's mouth snapped and said to Tagma on the other side, you and Bray will join forces to deal with the ugly guy with purple skin. Vegeta knew very well that when Xiaofang and Bra strongly demanded to come over, they absolutely didn't even think about standing by and watching the show, they would definitely be unable to hold back. So when he came over, he glanced roughly around, just to pick them a similar opponent. That guy. I can beat him alone. Xiaofang burst into laughter when he heard that he still had a chance to make a move, as if he was going to do a big job. Vegeta said, "Don't blame me for not reminding you. If you underestimate him, I will not be responsible for what happens at that time, and the battle is your own request. I will not help you." Bulala pulled Xiaofang's sleeves and said, "Xiaofang, listen to Vegeta, he won't harm us. I also feel that that guy is not a simple character." Okay, I'll just be serious." Xiaofang drooped his head and looked depressed. "I thought I could find a chance to perform, but I didn't expect to have to join forces with Beulah to deal with an enemy, which was depressed. For her, there is absolutely no way to enjoy fighting. Xiaofang just wants to abuse food." But now that Vegeta had ordered, Xiaofang couldn't object, otherwise he wouldn't even have to make a move. "Good luck to you." Vegeta smiled and said nothing. With Xiaofang and Bra's current strength, even if they join forces, they will definitely not be able to beat Keanu. However, they all have an unyielding enthusiasm in their bones, especially in front of Vegeta, and they don't want to lose face, so they will definitely not be defeated so easily. Perhaps through the pressure brought by Ginyu, they can quickly realize the opportunity of Super 2 transformation. As long as both of them succeed in transforming into Super 2, they should be able to defeat Keanu if they join forces. As for security, Vegeta is here. Do you still need to worry about it? See Master Vegeta. After Xiaofang and Beulah left, the Galaxy King finally found the opportunity to step forward and bring Jacques and others to salute Vegeta. When Vegeta became the gods of destruction, they were all verifiers, so there was no need for others to introduce Vegeta's identity. Gacker looked happy and said, "It's best for Master Vegeta to come back, and the 7th universe is finally saved. Master Vegeta, you should know that Frieza destroyed the Earth, right? And Moro." Vegeta waved his hand and said, "I will naturally find Frieza to settle the matter on the Earth, but Moro will not be in my control. You should ask Supreme Kai and Gods of Destruction for help. I broke the rules when I acted. In addition, I would like to remind you of friendship. You'd better solve Frieza's men as soon as possible. Otherwise, when the battle is over, these people will turn into birds and beasts. It won't be so easy for you to catch them." Gacker obviously didn't expect Vegeta to refuse so simply, and he didn't react for a while. But the Milky Way King reacted first, and immediately twitched Gark's head with his 8 legs, yelling, "Didn't you hear what Mr. Vegeta said? Don't hurry up." "Ah. Yes, I'll go right away." Gak suddenly hugged his head and took a group of galaxy patrols to arrest the Frieza Legion. "Master Vegeta, do you have any more orders?" The Milky Way King cautiously accompanied him. Vegeta waved his hand and said, "Go on your own business, don't worry about me." "Yes, Master Vegeta." The Galaxy King didn't dare to say more, and immediately turned his head to supervise the battle. "I was almost killed by Frieza just now, and now Vegeta is here, and the situation is suddenly reversed, and it's time for the Galaxy Patrol to show off. Master Vegeta, do you need me to help them?" Vados standing behind him hesitated. She wanted to do more to atone for her crimes, so that Vegeta could be punished lightly later. The previous incident had shattered the arrogant heart of Vados, and now she only hopes that Vegeta can give her a chance to show that she has completely succumbed to it sincerely. The current Vados mentality can be described as one heaven and one earth, two extreme opposites. In fact, Vados has no other options. Because she had done something wrong before, it was impossible to let her go without making a punishment. And what she did at the time obviously violated Angel's rules, and it was impossible for her to go to Grand Priest to sue. Therefore, the only thing Vados can do is to let Vegeta put down his grievances as much as possible and expose the matter as early as possible. "What do you think?" Vegeta glanced at her lightly and asked back. Vados was stunned for a moment, then drooped his head and said, "It's me who is troubled." Vegeta obviously wanted Laguz, Xiaofang and the others to be tempered. Wasn't she taking action at this time to undermine Vegeta's plan? Vados was anxious to make up for the mistake he had committed, but he didn't expect his IQ to be lowered and he could only stay there depressed. At this time, the battle between Laguz and Golden Frieza was still going on fiercely. No matter how frenzied Frieza attacked, Laguz used the calm expression that has remained unchanged for thousands of years, and countless glass was generated between waves to block it. The two sides also broke out with all their strength, but their mentality was completely different. Frieza obviously fell behind. However, the difference in strength is not big after all, and it is not so easy to tell the winner. On the contrary, Xiaofang and Bray rushed toward Ginyu with confidence at first, but Ginyu moved a little bit, and they were almost defeated. Only then did they understand why Vegeta told them like that. "You are not my opponents." If you don't want to die, just retreat. Jinyu's current character is completely different from before. Apart from occasionally putting up a few ugly paws like before, he is much more calm. In his opinion, fighting against the two little girls, Xiaofang and Beulah, is totally meaningless. Whether it is winning or losing, it will not affect the outcome of the battle. It's better to stand here quietly and wait until the fight on Frieza's side is over. Damn. Dare to underestimate us, brah. Give him some color. Xiaofang immediately gritted his teeth, and looked at each other with brah. The two broke out with super full power at the same time, and their fighting power soared. Since the beginning of cultivating in the spiritual timehouse, Xiaofang and Beulah haven't practiced much since then. But after all, they have seen a lot of very high-end battles, their horizons have been broadened, and their strength has risen. Now in the super full power state, Xiaofang can play a strength of 6 billion, while Bra's is 5 billion. But compared with Kino's 30 billion, it is still far behind. Even if the two of them joined hands, the full-out attack was still easily resolved by Keanu. It's also because Kinho didn't fight them seriously, so they could get away safely, or they would have been defeated after a few rounds. The strength seems to be too bad, we can't beat him. Bra's face showed worry. Unexpectedly, it was the first time I started with someone, and I was defeated like this, with no hope of winning at all. Xiaofang gritted her teeth and said, Baguette is still looking at us, do you want to just give in? But what can you do? Blah didn't want to just give up. Let's use that trick. I have practiced secretly before. Xiaofang stared at Ginyu not far away. Kinho just repelled them, and did not take the initiative to attack. At this time, he was standing there, his attention was focused on the battle between Frieza and Laguz at high altitude. It seems that King Frieza seems to have fallen behind. Kino's expression was a bit stern, and he muttered to himself. Moreover, the mysterious Vegeta did not take action. The situation is very unfavorable for King Frieza. Keanu was very loyal to Frieza, but in this case, the idea of sneaking away still inevitably came up in his mind. No way, Golden Frieza is so strong that Vegeta's men can just jump out to match him, or even have the upper hand. Like Bra's feeling about him, Kinho also felt that facing the Vegeta group, they had no hope of victory at all. He had been a toad for 20 years, and he finally changed his body, but he didn't want to die like this. It's just that he didn't realize that after Xiaofang and Beulah, who were not far away from him, had a quiet discussion, they had found a way to defeat Keanu. Blah actually didn't want to agree to Xiaofang, but in order not to disappoint Vegeta, he finally agreed. After the two moved a certain distance apart, they acted strangely at the same time like mirror images. Huh? Seeing this scene in the distance, Vegeta couldn't help showing surprise on his face. Then he couldn't help but pick up the corner of his mouth slightly, which was interesting now. Although I don't know when these two girls learned this trick, for them, this is indeed a very good ability. At this time, after making a few strange moves, Xiaofang and Beulah gradually moved closer, their fingertips facing each other. Wrong. After a golden light, the two figures merged into one, but the revealed figure made Vegeta a little bit dumbfounded. A little fat girl stood there, scratching her scalp with a dull face. She combined the images of Xiaofang and Bra, wearing a Metamor star vest, clothes of Xiaofang, and Bra's leather gloves and boots on all fours, which looked quite weird. Of course, compared to this, the chubby body shape is more funny. This is too cute. Vegeta smiled instantly. Although it was a failed product, it was Super Saiyan 1 at any rate, and was more or less stronger than Xiaofang and Bra's individuals. Who are you? Ginyu finally noticed the anomaly, but when he saw Xiaofang and Beulah on the opposite side disappear, turning into a fat girl and appearing in front of him, he was a little confused. The little fat girl pointed to Ginyu, and said with an earned voice, I am the fusion fighter of Xiaofang and Bra. Let's call Fang Bra. My goal is to destroy you. Rao is a serious-faced Kinho, facing this kind of scene still feels very cola. Although I don't know what your situation is, just come over if you want to fight. First of all, I will not release the water again this time. Ginyu had already made up his mind to slip away in advance, but before that, he must solve this troublesome opponent. HMPH, you just don't know my horror before you dare to say such things. After a while, you will cry, absolutely. The chubby Fangra was full of confidence, and after speaking, he rushed towards Keanu with his short legs. Huh. It's like a clown. Kinho looked at the awkward movements of the chubby Fangra, the corners of his mouth twitched slightly, and an energy bounce hit it. This kind of little chubby girl looks better than the two little girls just now, and I don't know if their brains have become like this. Ginyu didn't put the little fat girl in his eyes at all, and as a result, the more weird people did, the more unexpected things were. The little chubby girl suddenly tripped over her own foot while running, and screamed and fell to the ground, but because her belly was too round and elastic, she bounced directly, just avoiding the energy of Keanu Bomb. Under Kino's stunned gaze, the place where the little fat girl bounced was exactly in his direction. Although the little chubby girl was not disturbed, she seemed to be getting closer and closer to Ginyu, and she was overjoyed. Wow. Go to hell, look at my fragrant feet of Fangbra. The little fat girl made a 360-degree roundabout in the air and kicked at Jinyu's head. However, this kind of direct rushing movement didn't hide it at all, and anyone with a little bit of strength could easily avoid it. The corner of Kino's mouth twitched again. So, why should he face such a strange thing? Kinho didn't avoid it, even if he was kicked by Fangbra, his strength didn't get in the way at all. But of course he did not have the tendency to be abused, so another energy bomb blasted it directly into the air. It was also in a hurry, too late for him to gather too much energy, otherwise he could completely kill Fangbra with one blow. Fangbra, who was blown up, suffered only minor injuries, and his chubby face was a little more scorched. Damn it. You dare to destroy the pretty girl's beautiful face, I can't spare you. Fangbula suddenly became furious, and a powerful breath burst out of his body. The long golden hair that had been upside down became sharper, and the surrounding golden flames changed from flame to jet shape, and blue arcs continued to flicker, making a crackling sound like fried beans. Super Saiyan 2. She unexpectedly entered a Super Second state in anger because her face was a little more scorched, and Vegeta was stunned for a while when she saw it in the distance. This operation is simply transformed. Kinho frowned. Super Saiyan gave him a very bad memory. Although Fangra's Super 1 status is much weaker than him, but now that he is further transformed on this basis, Gina's face suddenly becomes serious. Of course, he has only increased his vigilance, and there is no sense of crisis. After all, his opponent is the little fat girl who looks dumb and ugly. Boom. I want to get rid of you who ruined girls' faces. Fangbula exploded with a powerful aura. In the Super 2 state, her combat effectiveness was doubled. However, the combat strength is only about 20 billion, and there is still a gap with Ginyu. Coupled with the clumsy movements brought about by her chubby figure, there is no threat to Ginyu at all. Even if he uses all the strength of breastfeeding, he is still easily suppressed by Ginyu. However, the difference in strength between the two sides is not as big as it was at the beginning. But what made him unacceptable was that after Fangra's attack failed, his anger exploded again. Damn. I will never let you go. You guys who don't know how to pity Shang Xiyu are destined to be killed by me. Fangra roared, his breath exploded again. In the bang, Fangra's upside-down blonde hair stretched out quickly and spread all the way to the ground. Her golden eyebrows disappeared, her eyebrow bones were lowered, and her entire face became sharp and angular, as if it were a knife. The golden flames all over her body turned into golden light and were fixed, and the blue arc that had flickered from time to time became denser. Super Saiyan 3. Fangbula set another record of Saiyan's transformation. Just because he couldn't beat the opponent, he was promoted in anger. Although she is still a chubby girl, after entering the Super 3 state, her movements have obviously become much smoother, which is not so awkward compared to before. The most important thing is that her combat power has directly exploded from 20 billion to 80 billion, which is a lot more than Jinyu's 30 billion combat power. With such a huge gap, even if the action is still as clumsy as before, Keanu has no chance. What? Seeing Fangra's appearance, and then sensing her aura, Kino's whole body is not good, and his face is horrified. Who are you? What the hell are you? Is this little fat girl a big wit? Or do you deliberately pretend to be such a stupid and cute look to pretend to be a pig and eat a tiger? Didn't you already say it? My name is Fangra. Super Saiyan Fangra slammed into front of Ginyu and hit him hard. Even though Ginyu tried his best, he still couldn't stop him, and his whole body flew out like a cannonball. With a bang, Ginyu directly smashed a building on the planet, and his whole person was buried in the ruins. Yeah. Super Saiyan Fangra made a triumphant gesture, and said with a smug expression, sure enough, I am the best. This kind of beam-jumping clown is really easy to deal with, and I can't hold it if I am a little serious. When Vegeta saw this scene in the distance, the corners of his mouth twitched. It seems that every fusion fighter has a strange character, especially the products of fusion failure. However, even though Fangra is a failure, it is quite remarkable to be able to enter the Super 3 state. Under her punch, Kinho was already seriously injured, and he couldn't climb out at all. In the end, he was dug out by the Galaxy Patrol and handcuffed away. And Fangra didn't linger for long. It was fusion that failed. With the use of Super 3's power, the time for fusion soon arrived, and they were separated into Xiaofang and Bra. The second woman glanced at each other, although they both felt a breath after defeating a powerful enemy. But when they think of the little fat girls after fusion before, the two of them can't help but have a hot face, which is too shameful. You must practice hard when you go back. This situation will never happen next time, Xiaofang whispered to Bra. Beulah nodded in agreement, and then said, but after fusion just now, I succeeded in becoming Super Saiyan E and Super Saiyan E. I feel that if I practice a little bit, I can become Super Saiyan E, even Super Saiyan E. It shouldn't take too long. Do you feel this way too? Xiaofang glanced at Bra and said a little depressed. I thought it was only me who felt this way. Oh, what a pity. What are you so sorry for? Beulah gave her a sideways glance. Xiaofang spit out her pink tongue and chuckled. I just thought I could get a bigger distance from you, but I didn't expect that I would still be unable to get rid of you. HMPH, I will definitely surpass you, it will definitely not take too long. Beulah grunted. Alright, you have said this hundreds of times, Xiaofang said nonchalantly. The two of them quarreled and walked back. By this time they had returned to Vegeta. Blah immediately complained to Vegeta. Baguette, Xiaofang is bullying me again. You have to be the master for me. With that, she threw herself into Vegeta's arms for comfort. Ah, you are so cunning. Xiaofang immediately yelled, and ran over to try to pull Beulah away, taking Vegeta's arms by herself. Vegeta pushed them all away, put his arms around their shoulders, and said, okay, be quiet for a while. After the fight, you will have a good sense of experience, and then take a closer look at how Lagus fought. When Vegeta said so, the second daughter was quiet, and obediently did what Vegeta said. The battle lasted not long, but it was indeed a good experience for them. At this time, the battle between Lagus and Golden Frieza is not over yet, but Lagus has fully gained the upper hand. The strength of the two is not much different, but Lagusi has always maintained a good rhythm, advances and retreats in an orderly manner, and his mentality is also very stable. On the contrary, Frieza, from the very beginning, was irritated by the double contempt of Vegeta and Lagus. He lost his steady state of mind, and his strength was naturally not perfect. Moreover, Frieza's golden transformation consumes a lot of energy and physical strength and cannot be maintained for a long time. After fighting for a while, now he has begun to appear weak. Damn, you damn woman, I will definitely kill you. Gold Frieza's eyes were red, and the anger burst out in her eyes. At this time he had forgotten that there was Vegeta, and only Lagus was left in his eyes. The strength has improved to this level, even surpassing gods of destruction Beerus. Frieza's self-confidence has already swelled a lot. How can he expect to be defeated by a woman like Lagus who looks weak and weak? This is for him. It is totally unacceptable. Unfortunately, you don't have this ability, it's almost time to end it. Lagus didn't pay much attention to Frieza's attitude. She raised her hand, and another large piece of glass formed around Frieza, trapping him in it. Boom boom boom. The large glass flower blooms into a beautiful and splendid firework, just to satisfy Frieza's desire to see the firework before. It's a pity that Frieza would never say that sentence at first if he knew it was such a firework. Lagus' attack is not too fancy, it simply uses energy to grow a flower of glass and then bloom. If it was still in the initial state, Frieza would of course be able to survive with the golden mode, and at most consume some energy to resist it. But now, his energy and physical strength have dropped drastically, and he can't hold it anymore. After the continuous explosion of this piece of glass flower, Frieza completely withdrew from the golden mode, and his body was seriously injured, and there was no resistance at all. Damn it. Damn it. This kind of thing. How is it possible? This is absolutely impossible. Frieza would lose to a woman. Frieza was lying on the ground, his face was full of unacceptable expressions, and then a sharp expression flashed across his face, and an energy ball was secretly condensed in his hand. Puff. However, a finger air bullet was shot from the hand of Vegeta in the distance, directly piercing Frieza's heart. Is it another trick? It seems that it has become an inevitable law. Once you lose the battle, you will want to destroy the planet and drag everyone to your burial? Vegeta looked at Frieza with a smile, and said, unfortunately, don't say I know you have this habit. Even if you don't know it, the planet exploded, and it has no effect on me. Damn. Damn. Frieza's eyes were full of regret. But the heart was penetrated, and he had no extra energy to speak. After only a few breaths, he finally returned to the underworld. Sorry, Master Vegeta, I was negligent. Laguz reacted, and she couldn't help showing a trace of shame. She didn't notice Frieza's little actions. Vegeta shook his head and smiled. You have defeated him, there is no merit, no need to apologize. But then again, your strength is indeed steady, and you can improve steadily in the future, but I don't need to worry about it. Laguz is very happy to be recognized by Master Vegeta. Laguz showed a smile of joy. What, Vegeta, you are too partial. We won the battle just now, but we didn't see you praise us. Xiaofang felt a little unbalanced in her heart. Bra also helped. That means Sister Laguz is really amazing, but you can't ignore us because of this, right? Good, good, you guys are also very good. Vegeta rubbed their heads helplessly. Xiaofang and Beulah shouted in unison, too perfunctory. Actually, you were able to complete fusion. It really surprised me. This trick is very suitable for you. Keep up the good work. Vegeta can only add one sentence. Only then did Xiaofang and Bra show a satisfied look, while Legusi was secretly laughing while covering her mouth. Frieza was dead, Ginyu was maimed, and the rest were mobs. With the power of the Galaxy Patrol, they were easily resolved. The Frieza Legion, which almost made the entire 7th universe tremble, was ended easily. Although there is still a Moro still pressing on the head of the 7th universe like a shadow, the absence of one Frieza can at least relax the people in the 7th universe a little bit. Vegeta didn't care about the rest of the matter anymore, and after solving Frieza, he could be regarded as avenging everyone on Earth. After that, Vegeta took everyone to the star of Beerus through instant transmission. Whis, who was sitting on a chair and eating food, sensed the arrival of Vegeta and others, showing a hint of surprise. Then immediately got up and saluted. See Master Vegeta. You don't need to be polite. Vegeta waved his hand, then raised his eyebrows. It looks like you are quite leisurely. Oh ha ha ha, thanks to Master Vegeta, Whis chuckled. He was referring to the delicacies that he was eating just now, which Vegeta brought to him from the Earth before, enough for him to eat for many years. Because of this, in addition, Son Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. have nothing to do with the Earth, so compared to the original work, Whis pays much less attention to the Earth. Otherwise, if Frieza attacked the Earth, if Whis noticed, even if he didn't take the initiative to wake Beerus, he would pretend to inadvertently reveal it to Son Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. After the two inherited the characters of the original Son Goku and Vegeta, they will certainly not sit back and watch. From this perspective, Whis is obviously more humane than Vados. It is for this reason that Vegeta stayed to say hello to him. After a brief comment, Vegeta disappeared in a flash. Master Vegeta, this is. Whis was a little unsure. But soon, there was a series of explosions in Beerus's palace. Boom 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 boom. The earth-shattering continuous explosions sounded, making Xiaofang, Bra, and even Legusi couldn't help but change their complexions. Don't be nervous, Master Vegeta took the initiative to get it out. Vados glanced at the three of Laguz, pursed his lips and said. Whis looked surprised and said, oh, it looks like Master Vegeta is quite angry, Master Beerus is going to suffer this time. After all, Master Vegeta's planet was destroyed. Vados had long understood the source of Vegeta's anger. Beerus slept in his palace as always, surrounded by many energy clocks, which would explode when touched. Vegeta just stepped up there, sent all these energy clocks to Beerus, and detonated them directly. Beerus, who was still asleep, was blown to pieces, and Ji Ling woke up in an instant. The intensity of those energy clock bursts will naturally not cause much harm to him, but he will definitely be embarrassed. Moreover, in order to punish him, Vegeta added some power of the origin of the rules, which made Beerus scream in pain. Who disturbs me to sleep and doesn't want to live anymore? After continuous explosions, Beerus finally woke up, and instantly roared with anger. When he rushed out of the surplus of energy, his nightgown was already torn and ragged, and his body was blown to pieces of blue and purple, and there was nothing in his whole body intact. I really don't want to live anymore, or would you give me a ride? Vegeta put his hands on his chest, raised his brows slightly, and looked at Beerus condescendingly. You. Beerus was about to get angry, and suddenly he saw that it was Vegeta who was coming, and the ice and snow melted from the original momentum. Why are you here? What are you going to do? Beerus drooped his head and looked depressed. He and Vegeta have known each other a long time ago. Even if Vegeta has become the gods of destruction and has a higher position than him, he will not be too respectful. It's just that Vegeta's strength has far surpassed him. Even if Beerus has the courage to get angry, he doesn't have that ability. Don't talk yet. Vegeta made a silent motion, and when Beerus didn't know why, he suddenly greeted him with a punch in his eyes. Let me beat you up again. Bang bang bang. Vegeta came directly with a short bunt, pressing Beerus to the ground and rubbing frantically. Oh. Wait. Wait a minute. You want to hit me? Give me a reason first. Beerus kept screaming, his head was stunned, he wanted to stand up, but he was not Vegeta's opponent at all. The last time I saw Vegeta shot, it was Vegeta's fight with Whis. At that time Beerus was no longer Vegeta's opponent at all, but as he thought, as long as he took a half step, he wouldn't be able to beat Vegeta, at least not like he is now, and he didn't even have the power to resist. Beerus's strength had just condensed, and it was directly dissipated under Vegeta's fist. In front of Vegeta, he was even worse than a baby. At least the baby rolls accidentally, and it is possible to avoid an adult's attack. But in Beerus's feelings, no matter how hard he struggles, he will only be attacked by Vegeta's most common attacks. After several attempts, he finally gave up completely. But even if he wanted to face it with the mentality of lie down and enjoy if you can't resist, he couldn't do it. With every punch that Vegeta dropped, he would hit him in the most uncomfortable and painful position. Even if Beerus gritted his teeth, he couldn't help wailing. It's so painful. Outside the palace, hearing a scream from Beerus, Xiaofang and the others looked at each other, and did not recover for a long time. Whis sighed and exclaimed. Since becoming gods of destruction, Lord Beerus has not suffered such a crime, but I don't know if he will go violently in a while. How about a runaway? He is facing Master Vegeta. Vados was also secretly surprised. Vegeta usually looks so gentle, but he didn't expect to be so cruel when he got angry. If this attitude were to be placed on her, Vados would not have the confidence to be able to bear it. Whis didn't know what Vados was thinking. He just smiled and said, but that's not bad. With this lesson, maybe Beerus-sama can get rid of his bad ailments. Vados glanced at him and said nothing. If you follow Vegeta's idea, I am afraid that Beerus's bad problems are all Whis used to. If Whis is willing to supervise Beerus a little bit, how can Beerus be so leisurely, sleeping casually for hundreds of years every time? Of course, although Vados has been able to use Vegeta's position to consider issues, after all, Angel has been instilled in the concept of neutrality from the beginning of his birth. If he really acts according to Vegeta's ideas, I am afraid that it is against Angel's rules, right? Sister, you seem to have something on your mind. Whis seemed to see something. Vados smiled reluctantly, and said, perhaps being with Master Vegeta and seeing many things that he hasn't seen before. Master Vegeta is always eclectic, completely different from the Protoss he has seen before. That's right. Whis didn't think deeply, and said with confidence, speaking of which, I really envy my sister. I decisively abandoned Lord Champa and chose Lord Vegeta. If I could have been so decisive then, maybe life will be more exciting. For this topic, Vados didn't take it down, because she really didn't know how to say it. Now she didn't know if it was the right choice to follow Vegeta. Regret it? Not really. But I was really awkward, and I didn't know what mentality to follow Vegeta in the future. That should be the gods of destruction Beerus in our 7th universe, right? It's so pitiful, I don't know what it will be like to be beaten by Vegeta. Xiaofang was also whispering to Bra. Bra was a little bit unbearable and said, however, Vegeta's start is too heavy, and it is gods of destruction anyway, is it really okay to play like this? What can be the problem? Don't forget that Vegeta has a higher position than gods of destruction. Even if he beats him, does he still dare to have an opinion? Xiaofang curled his lips indifferently. And don't forget, because this gods of destruction always sleeps and does not work, the earth will be destroyed by Frieza. Now Frieza, the culprit of crime is dead, Beerus's responsibility of course it must be investigated. That's right, but I am just worried. If gods of destruction has a grudge in his heart, what should I do with Vegeta in the future? After all, he is not a cat or dog. Did Jit cause a lot of trouble? Bra looked more sensible. Xiaofang frowned and couldn't help but worry. Laguz smiled beside him. Don't worry about this problem, Master Vegeta will take care of it. And Master Vegeta once said that he has a very close relationship with Lord Beerus, and I believe Lord Beerus will not hold a grudge. Xiaofang and Beulah breathed a sigh of relief. Of course, both of them believed in what Laguz had said. At this time, the unilateral beating in the palace had stopped, and Vegeta returned to the place again, with his hands on his chest, his breath was still stable, and his attitude was still calm, as if he had never made a move before. Of course, if Beerus hadn't been swollen like Champa now, there would be no flaws. Red. Red light. Lu Deodu suns the flowers in a deep breath, Asshole. What on earth are you going crazy? Beerus was already swollen for several laps, and his cheeks were also puffed up, and of course it was not easy to speak. The most important thing is that although these are traumatic, because of the addition of Vegeta's rule-based power, Beerus can't rely on his own energy to reduce the swelling, and the pain makes him restless. I just want to leave a deep memory for you. Baguette Shirin said. You have been too easy these years. If you don't think about making progress, the 7th universe will be destroyed because of you. Vegeta remembers the cause of the Tournament of Power. It was entirely because Zeno felt that there were too many universes and wanted to erase all the lower-ranked universes, including the 7th universe. The reason why the 7th universe ranks low is that Beerus, as gods of destruction, has been sleeping for a long time and failed to destroy the objects that need to be destroyed in time. Lu Chen touched Yushu. What do you mean? Beerus looked mad. Speaking of it, he originally slept well, when Vegeta suddenly broke in and woke him up, and then went crazy again, and said that he wanted to leave a deep memory for him. However, it was because Vegeta was even more abnormal. Bar? Vegeta did not directly answer Beerus's question, but instead asked him to ask Whis himself. Beerus actually didn't want to go out. How did he say it was Lord Gods of Destruction, the strongest man in the 7th universe? Even if he was smashed by Vegeta, now he still wants to go out and meet people in this manner. How can he feel embarrassed? But under Vegeta's slightly threatening eyes, Beerus could only walk out of the palace no matter how unhappy it was. Puff. When they saw Beerus, who was no different from Champa, including Whis and Vados, everyone laughed. Don't plant a whistle. Waishu. How can I bet it? Don't laugh. Whis, don't heal me quickly. Beerus roared angrily. It's just that everyone laughed happier when they heard his voice. Whis glanced at Vegeta and saw that Vegeta had no objection, so he waved the angel staff to restore Beerus to its original state. Beerus gritted his teeth with anger, but he couldn't pursue it anymore. And he can't afford to offend none of these people present. Xiaofang, Bra, and Laguz are all of Vegeta's. A little bit fierce, he is afraid that Vegeta will find another excuse to squash him, and then he will cry even more. As for Whis and Vados, Beerus can't beat them. And he is not Champa, although he occasionally gives orders to Whis, many times he still respects Whis. From this aspect, it can be seen that, although Beerus is also very willful, he has lost more than a dozen streets of Champa in terms of emotional intelligence. So even though he hated Vegeta's behavior, he actually didn't dare to have any hatred. Whis. Did something happen while I was asleep? Beerus knew very well that Vegeta would not come and beat him for no reason. Now that he said that, it is likely that there is something wrong with the 7th universe. Whis smiled and said, yes, Lord Beerus, 2 major events have happened. The first is that Frieza was resurrected and destroyed the Earth, including the relatives of Lord Vegeta. What? That bastard Frieza. Dare to do this kind of thing. Beerus immediately knew where the problem was. He became even more furious, and shouted, who gave that guy the courage? Even the Earth dared to destroy the Earth, tell me that. Where is the guy? I will destroy him myself. Although Frieza used to be notorious and destroyed many planets and lives, he actually worked for Beerus. The people killed by him are nothing, except that their relatives and friends will be more painful, but they will not cause too much ecological imbalance. But those planets that are destroyed actually have certain standards. When it comes to the point where it needs to be destroyed, Frieza takes the initiative on behalf of Beerus, so he dares to be so unscrupulous. Otherwise, with his combat power of over 100 million at the time, how could he be the king of the universe? But the Earth is different, let alone there is no need to destroy it, even if only considering the reason of the birthplace of Vegeta. There is no reason for anyone to destroy it, not even Beerus himself. Frieza is a taboo, even if Vegeta is not here, Beerus will not let him go. This is a bit troublesome. Whis chuckled, because he had been killed by Miss Laguz by the side of Lord Vegeta before, and if Lord Beerus wanted to find him, he might have to go to the underworld. But just to remind you, Frieza's current strength surpasses Lord Beerus. Even if Lord Beerus goes to him, he can't beat him. Beerus yelled immediately after hearing this. Whis, this joke is not funny at all. You said that Frieza's power surpassed my gods of destruction? Yes, I'm not kidding, Lord Beerus. Whis still smiled. Beerus looked straight at Whis for a moment, and made sure that the latter was not joking. His face couldn't help becoming serious. It turns out that such a horrible thing has happened during the time he was sleeping? A mere Frieza, the power of a small chess piece under his hand back then exceeds his gods of destruction? If it weren't for Vegeta to come forward and really let him face Frieza, then he would really lose to Frieza. Where would he put the face of gods of destruction? You said there are two big things, so what else is there besides Frieza? Beerus felt heavy, but he still suppressed the matter temporarily. He remembered what Vegeta had said before. Maybe he should really try hard to practice. These years have really been too easy. Any clown can surpass him in strength, which is absolutely not allowed. Whis, however, looked like it had nothing to do with him. Hearing Beerus's question, he replied, the Mo Luo, who ran out of the galactic prison back then, used the Namek Dragon Ball to regain his youth, and is now devouring planets everywhere in the galaxy to restore his peak strength and even go further. Mr. Gokuger and Mr. Vegetager have fought against Mola, but they are not opponents at all. They are now working hard to practice. Mr. Gokuger has completed half-step freely and utterly practice, and Vegeta Jr. has also gone to the planet Yadrat and successfully cultivated halfway. I'm not at ease anymore. Beerus was shocked when he heard this. He knew Mo Luo, and it was because of his fault that he almost killed the Supreme Kai, but he did not expect to make the same mistake again. It's just that he cares more about Son Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. than Mo Luo. Have they reached this level? Beerus felt even more serious. Originally, Son Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. were already able to transform into Super Saiyan Blue, and since this time, their basic combat effectiveness has improved a lot, and they are about to catch up with Beerus. Now that he understands the half-step freedom and half-step incomparableness, I am afraid that the strength is close to or even surpasses Beerus. How long is this? One after another, there are people who are stronger than him, and the prestige of Beerus, the gods of destruction, has been greatly reduced. Master Vegeta, please forgive me for my dereliction of duty. Beerus looked serious, bowed slightly to Vegeta, and then promised, leave the rest to me. I will not let you down. Seeing that Beerus was concerned about this matter, Vegeta naturally didn't hold on to it anymore. In fact, he didn't really blame Beerus, he just wanted to use it to beat him. After all, Beerus is also a rare person who makes Vegeta attractive. He doesn't want Beerus to stop because he is content with the status quo, and is finally eliminated by the tide of the times. Then I'll wait to see what you do. Vegeta was satisfied with Beerus's reaction, but still put pressure on him. After Beerus carefully understood the situation, he was ready to deal with Mo Luo's problem first. If Mo Luo continues to be destroyed, the ecology will be completely out of balance. At that time, if you want to raise the human level index of the 7th universe again, Supreme Kai will need to do a lot of work, and it will take a lot of time. The ranking among the 12 universes is based on the human level index. The 7th universe was originally ranked in the back few places, and let Mo Luo continue to do it, I am afraid that it will directly fall to the last place. Son Goku Jr. suddenly emerged from the space of Whis Angel Staff, just in time. What's the situation? Son Goku Jr. was stunned when he saw so many people present. But he still remembered his identity, and immediately went forward to salute Vegeta and Beerus. Compared to the original Son Goku, Goku Jr. pays more attention to identity. After all, it is just a clone, and it has been trained by Whis. Okay, don't talk about the gossip. Whis, take Goku Jr., and call Vegeta Jr., let's go to Mo Luo to settle the account together. Frieza had been killed by Lagoos, and Beerus had nowhere to spread the fire, and of course he was going to fall on Mo Luo, who was still jumping everywhere. Hey, is Lord Beerus going too? Son Goku Jr. was a little disappointed. If it was Lord Beerus who made the move, I'm afraid there would be nothing to do with Vegeta Jr. and me. Don't worry, you have a chance to shoot. Beerus glanced at him. He also wants to know the strength of Son Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. at this stage. Vegeta and the others stayed in the star of Beerus and didn't act. The only thing Mura didn't need him to take action, and Beerus was responsible for the affairs of the earth. He just came to remind Beerus. At this time, Vados suddenly said, Master Vegeta, there is a message from Trunks in Time and Space 2 to 3 that his affairs have been handled. Can he come and follow you to practice? In addition, Son Goku and Vegeta in his Time and Space, etc. both have been resurrected, and Son Goku and Vegeta also requested to come with them. The Trunks of Chronospace 2 to 3 are the specialties who were previously accepted as the Chronicle Patrol by Vegeta. Before going to GT Time and Space, Vegeta asked him to go back and deal with his own affairs. Then let them come. Just now I have some time, so let them practice together. Vegeta thought about it and didn't refuse. Trunks' strength is indeed a bit weak, and Vegeta also wants him to improve his strength as soon as possible. There are a few people around him to practice together, and the progress will be faster. Okay, Master Vegeta. Vados responded and sent a message to Shikong 2 to 3 through Angel's staff. Before long, the door of time and space opened, and Trunks used the sword of time and space that Vegeta helped him forge, and brought Son Goku and Vegeta to the world of gods of destruction in the third time and space. Of course, the coordinates here were sent by Vados, otherwise Trunks would not be able to find Vegeta in them so accurately. See Master Vegeta. Trunks immediately bowed on one knee and saluted, with gratitude and awe in his eyes. He has seen Vegeta's power, and because of Vegeta, he can manage his time and space well, so he is naturally devoted to Vegeta. Both Son Goku and Vegeta, who followed him, looked at Vegeta with curious eyes, until they heard Trunks coughing. They were slightly awkward to bow to Vegeta. They already knew about Vegeta from Trunks, and because of this, they would bow their heads and salute in front of their other fighter in time and space. It was very uncomfortable to think about it. Naturally, Vegeta would not have the same knowledge as them, so he waved his hand gently to signal that they don't need to be polite. Trunks, you're done with things over there? There are no hidden dangers left, right? Vegeta asked. Before Trunks returned, Vegeta gave him some simple suggestions, but he didn't know what Trunks was doing. Yes, Master Vegeta. Trunks said with a grateful expression. I would also like to thank Master Vegeta for this matter. If you didn't help me improve my strength, and later gave me a lot of help, I wouldn't be where I am today. In the future, as long as Master Vegeta has any instructions, I will do my best to complete it for you. Among these Saiyans, Trunks in the future is the most reliable one and knows how to be grateful. That's why Vegeta will receive him from his subordinates to do things, but now his strength is lower. Vegeta sensed it carefully. Before leaving, Trunks had only 50 million combat power in the normal state. It could become Super Saiyan E, and the combat power limit was 5 billion. And now his normal combat effectiveness has doubled, raised to 100 million, and 10 billion is considered to be a super second transformation, which is quite good. It seems that during the time he went back, Trunks did not relax his practice. Next, Trunks briefly explained his time and space. After returning, Trunks wiped out androids 17 and 18 with overwhelming force, and then found Dr. Gero's underground research room. All the valuable materials in it are taken away, and all the worthless materials are destroyed. In addition, he also found android 16 that hadn't been activated in that research room. Trunks activated the 16th and found that he was different from the 17th and the 18th. He was a man-made man who loved nature and peace. Therefore, Trunks made an agreement with the 16th. He provided the 16th with a normal living environment, and the 16th needed to help protect the Earth. After that, Trunks contacted Supreme Kai, explaining that he is now the identity of the Spacetime Patrol under Vegeta. Then, with the help of Supreme Kai, a new Namek was found, and Son Goku and others were resurrected using Namek's Palunga. But to his surprise, Cell, which was not found in Dr. Gero's research room, appeared at exactly that time. Cell absorbed a large amount of human life essence and grew into a semi-perfect body, defeating Son Goku and others one by one, and even Trunks wasted a lot of energy before finally killing the semi-perfect Cell. With his 5 billion combat power in the second form at the time, he almost never played a semi-complete Cell. It is also because of this that his combat effectiveness has improved so much than before. When it was learned that Trunks could transform into Super Saiyan E, it was because of Vegeta. Son Goku and Vegeta naturally wanted Vegeta to give some guidance, so they wanted to come together. Your strength should really be improved, otherwise the enemies that will appear in the future are definitely not something you can handle. Vegeta glanced at the three of them, but mainly said to Son Goku and Vegeta. Master Vegeta means that there will be very powerful enemies in our time and space in the future. Trunks' expression changed, and his tone became anxious. He knows the identity of Vegeta very well, and he often travels through multiple time and space, so he naturally understands the history and future direction better. In contrast, Son Goku and Vegeta are glaring and eager to try. The man-made incident this time brought them only depression and unhappiness. Even the 17th and 18th, after finally resurrecting, they were defeated by a monster called Cell, and this Cell is not yet complete. Now they desperately want to improve their strength, and then fight with stronger opponents. Vegeta caught their reactions one by one, smiled and said, no matter what time and space, there will always be strong enemies. You want to live in peace and protect your loved ones from disasters. You need to constantly improve your strength. With your current strength, it is insignificant to put it in all time and space of the universe. As long as a little stronger can easily defeat you. For example, the two little girls over there can easily defeat the two of you. You think, do you want to try it? A wicked taste arose in Vegeta's heart. The two little girls he was talking about naturally meant Xiaofang and Bra. Son Goku and Vegeta turned their heads and saw Xiaofang and Blah's soft and petite appearance, and suddenly felt a little displeased. What? Just the two of them? I feel like I can knock it down with a fist. Son Goku didn't feel the strong aura from Xiaofang and Bra. Idiot. Who can't hide your breath now? Vegeta cursed, and then said, but I don't believe these two little guys can beat us. Since Vegeta said so, I really want to try it. Xiaofang and Beulah have not interrupted, knowing that they are going to fight the most powerful person in their hearts before, and they can't help but feel a little eager to try. The timeline of these two people is more than 10 years earlier than them, and it seems that they have been dead for a long time before resurrecting. In other words, compared with Son Goku and Vegeta in their time and space, these two have been practicing for at least 30 years. Therefore, Xiaofang and Blah are completely sure that they can beat them. If this is true, there will be bragging capital in the future. Hee, Bra, don't be merciful just because of the other party's identity. Xiaofang blinked, his face full of mischief. Bra was also excited and said, I don't know how to release water, but you admire your grandfather very much. If you can't bear to start, don't blame me for making fun of you. HMPH, just wait and see. Xiaofang made a grimace at Bra. Thus, the competition was settled. The others retreated some distance and gave up the venue to these four people. Master Vegeta, are they two of your new time-space patrols? Trunks looked at Xiaofang and Bra with a little curiosity. For these two little girls who had never met, he had a faint feeling of intimacy in his heart, but he didn't know where this feeling came from. Vegeta smiled and said, that's not the case. It was picked up in a certain time and space. Let them stay with me for the time being. It's similar to Lagos nature. That's it. Trunks was a little misunderstood. I thought that Xiaofang and Blah were also former enemies, and they were influenced by Vegeta, and the respect for Vegeta was stronger in his heart. Look carefully, although their strength is slightly weaker than you now, but some things should be inspiring for you, Vegeta said. Trunks immediately said with a serious expression, yes, Master Vegeta. The expressions of Son Goku and Vegeta are also a little serious, although they don't think the two little girls can beat them in the bottom of their hearts. But since Vegeta said so, at least these two little girls have some real skills, and they can't take it seriously. It would be really shameful if you could have won, but turned over in the gutter because of carelessness. But compared to the two of them, Xiaofang and Beulah didn't think too much. Because Vegeta said they could win, they were confident in this battle. If you don't attack, then we will do it first. Xiaofang glanced at Beulah, and the two nodded at the same time, then snorted and transformed into Super Saiyan 1 at the same time. What? Son Goku and Vegeta were shocked at the same time, but before they had any reaction, Xiaofang and Blah both rushed over. There was no need to discuss at all. Xiaofang rushed straight to Son Goku, and Beerus naturally chose Vegeta. Bang bang. Without any suspense, Son Goku and Vegeta were beaten up almost at the same time when they were caught off guard. It turned out to be Super Saiyan, which really surprised me, but it's not that simple for me to win. After Son Goku stabilized his figure, he also instantly entered a Super 1 state, and his face was obviously excited. Because he did sense from Xiaofang a stronger aura than himself, even stronger than the semi-complete cell before. So when Xiaofang chased over, she burst out with all her strength in an instant. Naturally, this Son Goku couldn't be the strength of the time when he was just transformed into a super game. He died of a heart attack before the cyborg appeared. Although he has not been resurrected, he still continued to practice when he arrived in the underworld. Moreover, there are various opponents in the underworld, which has also allowed his strength to continue to improve. Although it is not as good as Trunks, the normal combat effectiveness is similar. Son Goku also has a combat strength of 100 million. After being transformed into a Super 1, it is 5 billion, and it is still super full power. However, Xiaofang was already 6 billion when he fought with Ginyu. After fighting with Blah Fusion, his fighting power has improved again. The normal combat power has increased to 150 million, and the Super 1 state has reached 7.5 billion, completely surpassing Son Goku. However, Xiaofang's combat effectiveness is strong, but his combat experience is not as rich as Son Goku. He can only gain the upper hand with absolute strength, but he can't defeat Son Goku for a while. On the other hand, Vegeta was also shocked by Bra's Super Saiyan transformation, and soon he also entered a Super 1 state, also full power. The two of them are almost a replica of Son Goku and Xiaofang. Both of them have second-level combat effectiveness. The combat effectiveness of Super 1 Vegeta is 4 billion, and the combat effectiveness of Super 1 Bra is 6 billion. And because Vegeta has more combat experience than Bra, and Vegeta has never been merciful because her opponent is a woman or a child, the result is that Vegeta is more advantageous in the battle, and Bra is constrained. Huh. The woman's Super Saiyan is nothing but brute force, not suitable for fighting at all. Vegeta easily suppressed Beulah with a much weaker combat power than Beulah. Originally, Vegeta was really taken aback by Xiaofang and Bra's Super Game transformation, but after the match, he realized that both his opponent Bra and Son Goku's opponent Xiaofang were just rookies with little combat experience. Xiaofang is a little better. After all, she has an off-the-shelf personality and often likes to use violence to solve problems. Blacko is completely a daughter, and she usually pursues the kind of ordinary women. Blah really started to practice seriously, but also after making up his mind to follow Vegeta. So even if the strength has risen to the height of several billions, he still doesn't know how to fight. Vegeta sees through the essence at once, hitting back while falling into trouble. At your level, even if your strength is several times stronger, you won't be my opponent. You don't know how to fight. It's better to stay at home. A woman should look like a woman. Vegeta has turned into a poisonous tongue. But he didn't really look down on Bra so much. He just saw two women Super Saiyan, and their strength greatly surpassed him, which made him feel unbalanced and his glass heart exploded. But his words completely angered Bra. Damn, you dare to look down on me, even if you are the father of another time and space, I can't spare you. Blah yelled, and his breath suddenly rose. The golden flames surrounding him suddenly turned into a jet shape, and blue arcs flickered from time to time. The upside-down hair became sharper, only a strand of bangs remained, and the facial features became more prominent. Super Saiyan 2. It wasn't because of pure anger that Blah advanced from Super 1 to Super 2nd. As early as in the previous practice in the spiritual timehouse, she had almost reached the threshold of Super 2nd transformation. Before fusing with Xiaofang to become Fat, Fangbala and Ginyu battled, once became Super 2 and Super 3, naturally, they also have a great understanding of Super 2 transformation. Enraged by Vegeta at this time, he triggered the opportunity to transform, and finally succeeded in this step. What? Vegeta was taken aback for a moment. He was still thinking about the phrase, the father of another time and space, just now in his head, but his reaction was slow for a while. After becoming a Super 2nd, Beulah's strength has exploded greatly, and both his strength and speed have been greatly improved. Even if the combat experience is not as rich as Vegeta, and the combat skills are weaker, but with a drop of 10 guilds, Bra only needs to use his advantages. Bang 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 bang. So a very cruel picture appeared. After entering Super 2, Beulah went straight away, and hit Vegeta with a violent beating, so that Vegeta could not find North at all, and he couldn't do a counterattack. After all, there was a gap in strength. Now Beulah has become a Super 2nd, and his combat power has doubled once again. Vegeta has no room to resist, and all the experience and skills are completely useless. On the other side, seeing Bra's eruption, Xiaofang, who barely suppressed Son Goku, was also anxious. I can't be brought down by Braby, so, sorry, another grandfather of time and space, drink. Xiaofang squeezed both fists, her breath also exploded. Xiaofang from Super Saiyan E is here. Her transformation is much easier than Bra. It can be seen that Xiaofang's talent is indeed stronger than Bra. However, when Xiaofang rushed to Son Goku and swung his fist down, Son Goku held up his hands and said, "Wait a minute, I surrender." Boom. Xiao Fang risked to remove her fist and slammed it on the ground next to her, directly exploding a big hole. What? You simply gave in. This is not the Son Goku I know. Xiaofang almost vomited blood. I thought that Super Saiyan E would make his debut for the first time, but I didn't expect that she would have no chance to play. Son Goku scratched his head and said with a smile, I don't want to, but I don't want to be like Vegeta. You are much better than me. Even Super Saiyan E can transform. I am really not your opponent. Anyway, it's just a comparison, there is no need to be so serious. But having said that, what I want to know is that you just said that the grandfather of another time and space. So, in your time and space, you are actually my granddaughter? Xiaofang hummed and made a grimace. I won't tell you, just a little bit. Ah. Tell me, I really want to know. What is the strength of me in your time and space? Son Goku pestered Xiaofang like a child. I'm going to find Vegeta. Xiaofang felt a headache and used Vegeta as a shield, and went away immediately. Son Goku is tens of years old, naturally it is impossible to really pester Xiaofang. Seeing this, he can only smile helplessly, and turn to look at Vegeta. At this time Bra's anger was almost vented, and the attack naturally slowed down. And Vegeta has been beaten to withdraw from the Super 1 state, and his head is bruised and swollen, so embarrassed. However, even though Bra was in a rage, he still made his moves relatively well. Vegeta was all traumatized. Humph. Do you still dare to say that I am not your opponent? Blah hugged his arms and sneered. Vegeta gritted his teeth for a while, but was completely unable to refute it. Okay. Let's end the battle. Vegeta stood up and ended the battle. After all, they are all relatives in different time and space, and they always have to save some face. He winked at Vados. The latter understood, and with a light swipe of Angel's staff in his hand, Vegeta's injuries disappeared, and the physical strength of several people instantly recovered. Vegeta looked at Son Goku and Vegeta, and said, "You follow Trunks for nothing more than to improve your strength. Then in the next time, you will be Xiaofang and Bra as sparring partners. As long as you can defeat them, I will point to you personally." Ah. How can this be? Xiaofang and Beulah quit for the first time. They know that the talents of Son Goku and Vegeta are just to defeat them, and it won't take long. Vegeta glanced at them and said, "There is nothing wrong with you. You want to be by my side. Your strength is already too weak. Their task is to defeat you, and your task is to fight not to be defeated by them. This task is too arduous." Xiaofang looked unconfident. After all, the opponent was her grandfather. Even if her current combat effectiveness is much stronger than Son Goku, she is not sure how long she can lead. Bra is even less confident. If she hadn't just realized the Super Second transformation, she might not have been able to beat Vegeta in pure Super 1. "I don't care about this, you can take care of it yourself." Vegeta put the matter in a conclusive conclusion, and they couldn't let them refuse. No matter how unhappy Xiaofang and Beulah were, Son Goku and Vegeta knew that Xiaofang and Beulah were their descendants in another time and space, so they had no objection, and instead wanted to train them. Throwing all four of them into Vados' staff space and handing them over to Vados' supervision, Vegeta ignored them. "Master Vegeta, can I practice with them too?" Trunks was a little moved. "I have had the prison star in his party." Trunks knows exactly what the real high-end combat power is, so he has been working very hard so that the combat power can be doubled in a short period of time. "Do you want to practice with them?" Vegeta raised his brows and said, "I want to train you myself. Since you want to practice with them, let you go to the staff space?" Huh. Trunks was taken aback for a moment, and quickly changed his words. "If Master Vegeta trained me personally, of course I couldn't ask for it. I just didn't expect Master Vegeta to spend energy for me." Vegeta smiled and said, "Your strength has improved, and I will be able to relax a little later, which is naturally good for me. Master Vegeta, please rest assured, as long as I can do things, I will do my best," Trunks immediately assured. "Then you have to be mentally prepared. Let me train you, you will feel the pain of hell." Vegeta grinned suddenly, revealing a gloomy expression. Trunks couldn't help but shudder and subconsciously flinched. But after all, he came out of the last days alone, with extraordinary perseverance and courage, and soon he gritted his teeth and calmed down. "As long as my strength can be improved, no matter how much suffering or pain I suffer, I will stick to it," Trunks said with a firm face. "Very good. I like your character." Vegeta snapped his fingers. "So, are you ready?" "Guru." Trunks swallowed subconsciously, looking a little nervous. However, he stood there firmly, drew out the sword of time and space behind him, and put on a fighting posture. Since it is training, it must be a battle. Trunks now has a vision, but the basic combat effectiveness is too low. In fact, as long as he was given time, he would soon be able to cultivate to a certain height, at least it was enough to meet Vegeta's needs. But now that there is just time, Vegeta will exercise a little bit. By the way, it is also very good to promote the strength of Trunks. "Next I will attack you, you should pay attention." The corner of Vegeta's mouth twitched slightly, and he appeared in front of Trunks in a flash of stature. So fast. Trunks' eyelids twitched, and hurriedly put the sword in front of him. Vegeta punched the sword without any fancy. A huge force came. Trunks' figure was shaken, his whole body was instantly dissipated, and the whole person flew out. "Teach you the first lesson today. In the face of absolute power, any technique is useless." Vegeta continued to follow. Bang 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 bang. One punch after another fell on Trunks like rain. Although Vegeta had already controlled his power to an extremely weak level, Trunks was obviously worse than Beerus, and he couldn't even make any movements. After being beaten and flying by Vegeta's first punch, the strength on his body was no longer condensed, and he could only be completely passively beaten behind, unable to even defend. Moreover, this series of attacks was extremely swift and violent. Trunks was completely dumbfounded at this time, and his brain did not react at all. Every punch that fell on him was an extremely severe pain. Just in response to what Vegeta said at the beginning, he had already felt the hellish pain. The pain was so extreme that he didn't even have the strength to scream. Master Vegeta, what is this doing? Not far away Lagus was puzzled. If you want to train Trunks, you don't need to be so cruel, right? If he casts a psychological shadow, won't Trunks be abandoned? Vados next to him thoughtfully said. Master Vegeta should be trying to force the potential of Trunks. Saiyan has always been stronger in the Vietnam War. Master Vegeta uses a power slightly stronger than Trunks, but completely unable to resist. Reach the limit of Trunks. As long as the Trunks can withstand these blows, their energy and stamina will be greatly improved after they are relieved. And most importantly, Saiyan will be resurrected from death, and the basic combat effectiveness will also have a qualitative leap. Lagus didn't have a long time following Vegeta and didn't know much about Saiyan's physique. Hearing Vados' guess at this time, his face was surprised and said, there is such a race in the universe. No wonder Vegeta-sama is so strong, it really makes sense. Vados smiled slightly, and said, Master Vegeta is an exception. He is naturally talented, but he has never practiced in that way. Vegeta has been extremely powerful since his birth, after all, he is a fit fighter. Moreover, at this point, he relied more on prophecy and foresight, as well as a strong talent, and had not experienced much penance. Lagus couldn't help but admire, there is really only one Vegeta in this world. At this time, under Vegeta's series of fierce attacks, Trunks had reached their limit without persisting for too long. Vegeta took care of almost every muscle in his body with his fists, and these fists looked ordinary, but actually contained the power of the origin of the rules, which greatly helped Trunks temper his body. Don't look at it for only a few minutes, in fact, he has already punched tens of thousands. At this time, Trunks was completely exhausted in physical strength and energy, except for the tearing pain of the whole body, and even the vitality had reached the point where it was exhausted. Boom. Vegeta threw Trunks, whose soul was about to be separated, to Vados. Vados, give him a treatment. Yes, Lord Vegeta. Vados could already see from Vegeta's movements, so when Trunks just came to her, she had already waved the angel staff in her hand. Angel can not only heal injuries, but even resurrect, which is unmatched by Fairy Bean. Of course, this requires the power of Vados Angel, which is essentially the power of detachment. Soon, under the treatment of Vados, Trunks gradually recovered. At this moment, his head was still dumbfounded, and he didn't react at all. Vados and Lagus had already understood Vegeta's purpose, but Trunks hadn't understood. They were completely caught off guard just now. After recovering at this time, the first reaction was to pull off his posture and look at Vegeta with alert and fear. However, even though Trunks had been prepared, they still couldn't escape Vegeta's murderous hand. Vegeta just made a simple judgment, and after that exercise just now, Trunks' basic combat effectiveness has at least doubled. Then, without waiting for Trunks to react, he immediately stepped forward and started a new round of exercise. Trunks didn't even have a chance to protest, or that he hadn't figured out the situation until now, and once again under Vegeta's blow, he entered a near-death state. Trunks has experienced this terrible situation 3 times before and after, and each time was more ruthless, and each time it broke him down. After being cured by Vados for the 3rd time, Trunks had completely given up his precautions, and stood directly there with a broken can, with a tragic look on his face. Even at this point, he didn't ask more, let alone resist. In Trunks' heart, Vegeta is no different from his second parents. Not to mention just beating him a few times before and after, even if he will kill him directly, he will not say anything. Of course, this level of brutal beating was obviously more tragic than killing him directly, but Trunks still took it abruptly with great perseverance. Seeing Trunks' unlovable expression, Vegeta immediately became happy. Okay, put your expression away, that's it for today, nothing is too late. Vegeta walked over and patted Trunks on the shoulder. Following the resurrection from the dead, Trunks has made a qualitative leap in both energy and physical strength, so Vegeta's hands on him have become more ruthless every time, so that Trunks can break the limit one after another. But after the 3rd time, he played harder than before, but did not improve as much as the previous 2. Vegeta knew that even if it continued, Trunks would not improve much in a short period of time. After all, Saiyan's method of improvement has its limits. Otherwise, as long as any Saiyan has a quick way to heal his injuries, wouldn't he be able to max his level all the way up? Huh. Is it over? Trunks said in a daze. But what's the point of that just now? What's the point? The corner of Vegeta's mouth was slightly picked, and said, "You will know what's the point by carefully sensing your current strength." Trunks hadn't fully recovered yet. Subconsciously, according to what Vegeta said, he carefully sensed his own strength, and then his face was full of shock. This is. Trunks felt the power in his body that had fully exploded, and he was afraid to say, "Is this really my own body?" It's a far cry from before. The fact is the same. He has experienced 3 times of tempering, and it is not just an ordinary near-death resurrection. Every muscle of his has been strengthened by Vegeta. His current physical fitness is completely different from before. The previous Trunks only had a basic combat power of 100 million. But now not only has the physical strength increased several times, but the combat effectiveness has also risen directly to 2 billion, a full increase of as much as 20 times that of Horror. Counting his Super Second transformation, at this time Trunks' ultimate combat effectiveness has reached a height of 200 billion. And because the body is strengthened, as long as he adapts a little bit, his transformation state will definitely be able to go to the next level. Get used to these forces yourself. After you stabilize, I will let you continue to improve. Vegeta said, "I have high expectations of you, so don't let me down." Yes, Master Vegeta. Trunks was overwhelmed with excitement. The scholar died for the confidant. With Vegeta helping him in this way, Trunks had already dedicated his life. Vegeta smiled and did not say any more. He did have a series of improvement plans for Trunks. The most important thing is that after Trunks' strength improves, he can be lazy whenever he wants to be lazy. Even if you don't care about those who are disrupting time and space, Trunks will help you deal with it, so that there will be no problems like Beerus's sleep. However, after 3 extreme exercises, Trunks was able to rise to this level, which was a bit unexpected for Vegeta. The specific reason should be related to the previous experience of the prison planet. As I said before, as long as I have seen a stronger warrior and have a heart that desperately wants to become stronger, after Saiyan is resurrected from the dead, there will be an extreme explosion. Not to mention that Trunks is not just an ordinary near-death resurrection. It can increase the basic combat power by 20 times in 3 exercises. In fact, it is not too unreasonable. Of course, after raising so much strength at once, even if Trunks wants to adapt to the current strength, it will take a while, so I am afraid that it will not be able to continue to improve in a short period of time. Vados, look at the situation on Beerus, Vegeta told Vados. I have treated Trunks 3 times in a row before, which consumed a lot of Vados' angel's power, and now looks very tired. But now she has executed Vegeta's instructions very thoroughly. As soon as Vegeta spoke, she didn't even hesitate, and immediately cheered up and used Angel's staff to project the image of Beerus. Fortunately, it is just a projection screen, which does not consume too much of Vados, and she can also take the opportunity to restore energy. If she was to resurrect Trunks 4 times in a row, she wouldn't be too sure. Vegeta saw the state of Vados in his eyes, but didn't say much, let alone show pity for it. After all, Vados is still in the stage of being observed, and it is the right thing to have such a performance. At this time, Beerus and the others had already met Mo Luo in the universe. But Mo Luo hasn't made a move yet. He has collected all the prisoners who ran out of the galactic prison and formed an evil army that is more powerful than the Frieza army. Son Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. teamed up to deal with the people under Mo Luo's hands, sweeping the entire process. However, it can be seen that they wanted to keep some strength to fight against Mo Luo, and did not try their best, so the sweeping progress was not too fast. Beerus also took action, because even if Mo Luo faced him, he had a casual tone and attitude, which made Beerus feel despised, and the glass heart directly exploded. However, when Beerus was about to attack Mo Luo, he was stopped by someone under Mo Luo's hand. Sebenzli. A pure robot with a look similar to Hit has the ability to replicate. Just grab someone's neck for a while to replicate all of the other S abilities, and even their combat power is exactly the same. However, he is likely to know the opponent better than the opponent himself and can easily take advantage of the opponent's weakness to win. Is there only this ability? If it's just like this, it would be so disappointing. Beerus kicked Sebenzli without any difficulty. Although he couldn't feel the breath of Sebenzli, from the action just now, the combat effectiveness of Sebenzli completely made Beerus uninterested to deal with. Mo Luoming knew that he was gods of destruction, and even sent such a hand to fight him, which made Beerus feel insulted. Don't worry, Lord Gods of Destruction, you'll like this battle in a while. Mo Luo just looked from a distance and didn't mean to shoot. Even if he knew that the other party was Gods of Destruction, he still didn't worry, and seemed to be absolutely sure to deal with Beerus. I hope so, otherwise you will definitely end up miserably, I promise. Beerus didn't think so much. When solving Moro, he also wanted to show off his strength, or pretend to be forced, that's it. Sibensly, let our Lord Gods of Destruction have a good experience of your abilities, Moro told Sibensly. Yes, Lord Moro, Sibensly responded and rushed towards Beerus without hesitation. Beerus frowned and said with disdain, is that so? Then I will definitely be disappointed. It was just that he had just finished speaking, and Sibensly, who was rushing forward, suddenly disappeared in front of his eyes without warning. Beerus could not sense the presence of the opponent at all. What ability? Time. Space. Beerus immediately improved his perception, but still failed to capture the position of Sibensly. However, the next moment, Sibensly appeared behind him without warning, already grabbing Beerus by the neck. When Beerus was startled, the other party actually completely concealed his perception. That's the ability of the transparent race, Lord Beerus, you are really dull. Moro floated in the distance, with a gloating expression on his face. The so-called gods of destruction is nothing more than that. Just now, Sibensly used the previously copied ability to activate the transparency ability of the Transparency clan during the forward dash. It disappeared directly from Beerus's eyes, and then went around behind Beerus and grabbed the back of his neck. But Beerus didn't know that by grabbing someone's neck, Sibensly could copy the opponent's ability and combat effectiveness. So he didn't care at all, just coldly snorted, what's the use of doing this kind of trick? Who do you think I am, Beerus, is being restrained casually? You two underestimate me. A powerful breath erupted from Beerus, which directly slammed Sibensly upside down. He twisted his neck and said with an impatient look, fighting with such a small character is really insulting my identity, forget it, just give you a fatal blow, destroy. A purple-black energy light ball condensed in Beerus's hand and struck at Sibensly. Destroy. As a result, Sibensly also condensed a purple-black energy light ball. The energy intensity is almost the same as Beerus. How is it possible? Beerus's eyes widened for an instant. However, he still doesn't believe in evil, thinking that the opponent's destructive ball is nothing but a mere appearance. However, when the two destructive spheres collided and melted into each other, Beerus realized that he underestimated each other. Damn it, could it be that time? Beerus finally remembered what Sibensly had struggled with just to scratch his neck. Haha, did you finally find it? Moro laughed and said, it seems that Lord Gods of Destruction is not that good. Asshole, I will kill you. Don't think that you can deal with me by making a fake. It's too early. Beerus gritted his teeth with anger. As Gods of Destruction, he has always been aloof in this universe. When has he been teased like this by others? And looking at Moro's posture, it was obvious that he was watching a play, which was simply not acceptable to Beerus. Is it really just a counterfeit? Moro picked up the corner of his mouth and said nothing. Soon, Beerus fought with Sibensly. The result was completely beyond Beerus's expectation. This Sibensly could not only use his destructive ball, but even his strength and various abilities became exactly the same. What shocked him most was that the other party was able to use God's energy, which was terrifying. After copying his strength and abilities, even the God energy was copied, so it wouldn't be so easy to beat the opponent. This person is very unique. On the star of Beerus, Vegeta raised his eyebrows when he saw this scene, and said, it seems that Beerus is going to suffer. It really is. Vados explained next to him. This Sibensly is a robot. In addition to ability to replicate, he also has unlimited energy. Once he replicates his ability, it is basically difficult to defeat him. But there is always an upper limit, and it is impossible to replicate indefinitely, right? Baguette was curious. If he was caught by the opponent, would Sibensly reach his own height? Vados said. Sir Baguette, Sibensly should not be able to fully replicate it. Even if he can replicate the divine energy, the power of transcendence is obviously not something he can comprehend at this level. Is there only power for detachment? Vegeta smiled. His ability is not based on the power of detachment, it can be said that the power of detachment is rather a weakness. But Vegeta believes that even if Sibensly can fully replicate his abilities, he will never be able to defeat him by this. This is Vegeta's absolute confidence. Damn it. I don't believe that you really copied all my abilities. Beerus couldn't take Sibensly for a long time, and he couldn't hold back his face, and he immediately entered the runaway mode. But even so, in the case of Sibensly's steady fight, Beerus's runaway will only increase his energy consumption, but it is even more detrimental to his fight. As a result, when Beerus's series of onslaughts ended, he was exhausted and panting, but Sabenzli still looked calm and calm. Master Beerus, that guy has unlimited energy, don't spend it with him. Son Goku, who was fighting with other small characters, suddenly remembered this and immediately reminded Beerus loudly. He had met Mo Luo and the others long ago, and briefly fought with Sabenzli. Why didn't you say it earlier? Beerus's expression changed. How could he fight this way if he had known that the opponent had infinite energy? But when things got to this point, Beerus couldn't keep hiding. He just didn't expect that to deal with a mere subordinate of Mo Luo, he would even hit this point. Is it true that my gods of destruction is fake? Beerus yelled, facing Sabenzli who was rushing over, and drew it away with his tail. Ultra Instinct, launch. Boom. Sabenzli was directly kicked by Beerus's tail and slammed into the distant rocky mountain. For a while, he couldn't get up. Huh. The trivial copy really thought it could shake the sky. Beerus held his arms in a condescending manner. Ultra Instinct relies on physical instincts to fight. This is not a skill, nor is it an energy application. It is impossible to copy the past simply by copying. However, Beerus's performance made Son Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. not far away stunned. Son Goku Jr. exclaimed. This is the perfect Ultra Instinct. When did Master Beerus finish it? I thought I finally caught up with Master Beerus. Beerus glanced at him faintly, and said with a proud face. What's the joke, you still want to surpass me? Let's practice for another million years. In fact, it was initially stimulated by Vegeta's explosive strength, and Beerus secretly worked hard and finally completed the perfect Ultra Instinct. It was also because of the completion of the Ultra Instinct training that Beerus started to sleep again. After a while, Sabenzli rushed out of the ruins, but without any accident, he was easily slammed by Beerus. On this level, Beerus kicked it flying, frowning. As soon as he used Ultra Instinct, Sabenzli actually started to weaken, and he did not have the same strength as before. There should be a time limit for copying capabilities. What a pity, Beerus quickly found the answer. Boom. After an energy bomb passed, Sabenzli was directly turned into a gray fly. At this time, Son Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. also dealt with those Mo Luo's men. Basically all of them were severely injured without fighting back, and then they were taken over by the Galaxy Patrolman. Most of Mo Luo's subordinates ran out of the galactic prison, and naturally they returned to the Galactic Patrol. Flap, pop. Mo Luo clapped and walked over and looked at Son Goku Jr. and said, in just 2 months, you have increased your energy a lot, and it really didn't disappoint me. Vegetager said coldly. Don't think you can absorb our energy as easily as last time. In order to cope with your ability, I have worked hard. Hee, me too. Son Goku Jr. smiled. Vegetager has learned a deeper level of energy control, that is, half-step incomprehension. His control of energy has reached a very fine level, and it will not be easily taken away by Mo Luo. On the other hand, Son Goku Jr. practiced for half a step. Even if Mo Luo could still absorb his energy, in the process of absorbing, he would use the freedom to take the opportunity to launch a counterattack. It's okay for Mola not to absorb his energy at that time. Once absorbed, Son Goku Jr. will seize the opportunity instead. HMPH, it doesn't matter, as long as you have more energy than before, so I don't need to look for life planets everywhere in the universe. Mo Luo chuckled, and didn't take the two of them seriously. The last time they fought, Mo Luo heard them say that there is still room for improvement in a short time, so they let go of Son Goku Jr., otherwise they would have been sucked up last time. Letting go of Son Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr., for Mo Luo, is to let go of the 2 mobile energy storages. This time they will absorb them again, just to help him break through to a higher level. As for the appearance of Beerus, it was indeed an accident, but it made Moro more of an object to absorb, and he was happier instead. You should save these words to hell to say, oh no, I won't give you a chance to go to hell, sabotage. Beerus condenses a destructive light ball containing terrifying energy, and hits Mo Luo directly without greeting. He has long been unhappy with Mo Luo's posture that he thinks he is in control of everything. Ah, Lord Beerus, you are so cunning, Son Goku Jr. exclaimed. He tried desperately to cultivate, isn't it just to fight Mo Luo? In the end, even if Beerus came from a horse, he even deprived him of the opportunity to shoot. But Mo Luo is obviously not so easy to solve. This kind of destructive light ball containing the power of rules has also been increased in density by Beerus, and he naturally can't directly absorb it. So when the destructive light ball hits, a huge mass of life energy suddenly rushes up from the ground, stopping the destructive light ball. This is the life energy of their planet itself, directly controlled by Moro. To fight against Moro, you must not only prevent him from taking away energy, but also contend with the vitality of the entire planet. Of course, just the energies that were hurriedly controlled could not completely block Beerus's destructive light orb, so Moro just used this moment of resistance to quickly leave the place, avoiding the frontal attack of the destructive light orb. Master Beerus, can you give Moro to us? Just as Beerus was about to take advantage of the victory, Vegeta Jr. also spoke. He also made a special trip to the planet Audrot to deal with Moro, where he did some penance. Beerus glanced at Vegeta Jr. and saw that Son Goku Jr. next to him was begging but gearing up, but finally he didn't continue his shot. HMPH, if you lose, I will destroy you as well. Beerus cursed wrongly and turned to leave. He has roughly judged Moro's strength, and he does have the proud capital, which is better than him who has not displayed his perfect self-consciousness. Coupled with the ability to devour energy in an infinite amount, he is almost invincible, and it is no wonder that Moro doesn't even care about him, Beerus. It's a pity that Moro has never been in contact with gods of destruction after all, and he doesn't even know the horror of ZZZ. He didn't want to think that even the Supreme Kai has the ability to seal his magic power, so gods of destruction can be worse than the Supreme Kai? Of course, it could also be that the time of imprisonment was too long, and he suddenly recovered his strength, which made Moro's mentality a little wandering. According to Beerus's judgment, Son Goku Jr., who has reached half a step of self-consciousness, may be a little bit down when facing Moro alone, but as long as he joins forces with the half-step incomprehensive Vegeta Jr., he can definitely defeat Moro. And don't forget, they have Saiyan physique, and the stronger the battle, the better. I have already failed the last time. This time, Son Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. may have a hard time trying to lose. So Beerus finally gave Moro to them to deal with it, and he didn't stay too much. He directly asked Whis to take him away, ready to collect the Super Dragon Ball, in order to resurrect the Earth and Son Gohan and others. Namek's Dragon Ball has been used by Moro, and even the vitality of the planet has been swallowed. Otherwise, there is no need to find the Super Dragon Ball, and then you will have to deal with the troublesome Champa. This is something Beerus doesn't want. Gods of Destruction, the star of Beerus. Vegeta is sitting on a glass lounger, drinking a drink, enjoying Lagos massage technique, while watching the battle scene projected by Vados' Angel's staff. Not far away, Trunks is cultivating assiduously, step by step in control of the rising power. At this time, he has almost adapted to this body's power, with a basic combat power of 2 billion, and after transforming into a Super 2, it will reach 200 billion. This was a terrifying force that he could not imagine in any way before. Of course, he himself knew that even at this level, it still fell far short of Vegeta's expectations. So in the next time, he will work hard to surpass Super Saiyan E. According to Vegeta, there are several options above Super 2. The superpower of Super Saiyan E is actually similar to that of Super E, except that it maintains the Super E transformation. Super Saiyan 3. Super Saiyan God. Super Saiyan 4. The first two can only be regarded as excessive transformations. Basically, as long as the energy control is enough and the strength is reached, that kind of transformation can be completed. The increase in strength is not too great, it is simply to increase the explosive power. Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan IV are two development directions in completely different fields. Although Vegeta develops in two lines, not everyone is Vegeta and may not be perfectly compatible with the two transformation methods. So Vegeta let Trunks consider it well and choose a direction for development. At least until you fully control that kind of transformation, you can't look around and look at Shu. As for the Super Saiyan transformation, 5 Saiyans are needed to help, and the Super 4 transformation needs the tail. These are not problems. In fact, relying on the help of 5 Saiyans to achieve the Super Game God transformation is just a shortcut, but it does not mean that 5 Saiyans must be needed to assist. Because the nature of this transformation is very simple, just use emotions to stimulate the rules of fighting. As long as you can sense the rules of fighting, you can complete the transformation. In the Zamasu chapter of the original book, Trunks in the future understood the transformation of the God realm under the training of Vegeta, and did not rely on other Saiyans to send him the light of justice. Regarding the tail question of Super 4 transformation, Trunks actually have tails, but they are hidden. As long as Vegeta is willing, he can use the power of the original rule to make Trunks' tail grow. Just as Trunks was thinking about the future direction of transformation, several figures emerged from Vados' angel staff one after another, but it was Son Goku and the others who completed their respective training goals. According to the previous goal set by Vegeta for them, it is to at least achieve Super Second Full Power, or even Super Third Transformation. Now that only half a day has passed, that is, half a year in the staff space, they all came out. Ah, Vegeta, I miss you so much. As soon as Xiaofang and Beulah came out, they immediately turned their heads and looked around for the figure of Vegeta, then cheered and rushed directly. Vegeta didn't refuse either. He gently embraced the two daughters, and said with a smile, "Thanks for your hard work. Seeing you, your cultivation should be smooth, right? That is, don't look at who I am." Xiaofang immediately said with a smug look, "I am the first of all to transform into Super Saiyan E." Cut. The result was not defeated by Super Saiyan II's Vegeta. Beulah, unhappy, began to tear down the stage. Because the Son Goku and Vegeta here come from other time and space, they are directly called Dad, Grandpa or something, and they themselves feel awkward. In the end, after the consent of the person concerned, they directly called the name. "I want you to control." Xiaofang became angry for a while, don't turn his head, and became sulking. Vegeta took a closer look at them, and their progress was indeed not small. Before entering, they had just realized the Super 2 transformation. Xiaofang's basic combat power was 150 million, and Bra's was 120 million. And now after half a year of training in the staff space, Xiaofang's basic combat effectiveness has increased to 500 million, and Bra's is 450 million, and the gap has narrowed a lot. If they all have the ability to transform into a Super 3, then the combat effectiveness will reach 200 billion and 180 billion respectively. Looking at Son Goku and Vegeta, the former originally had a basic combat power of 100 million, while the latter was 80 million, both of which can only be transformed into a super full power. And now Son Goku's basic combat power has reached 800 million, and Vegeta has also reached 800 million. With Vegeta's 800 million basic combat power, if Super 3 can win Super 3 Xiaofang in Super 2, then Super 2 has reached its limit state, which is slightly weaker than Trunks' Super 2 super power. In terms of multiples, the normal Super 3 is 400 times the normal, then the limit of Vegeta is Super 2, which is 300 times the normal, and the Trunks' Super 2 super power, like the Super 3, is 400 times the normal. Son Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks have 3 paths, but Vegeta is still weaker. Of course, Trunks here refers to the original work. It's hard to say which way this Trunks will go, but with Vegeta's guidance, future achievements will definitely far exceed Son Goku and Vegeta. This is for sure. Huh. Are they us in this time and space? What about that kind of transformation? It feels so powerful, but their opponent seems to be stronger. After returning to the real Son Goku and looking around, he soon discovered the image projected by Angel's staff. At this time, Son Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. were fighting Moro fiercely. At first, they used boxing to decide the order. Son Goku Jr. took the first shot, and soon fell under the wind, and then Vegeta Jr. rushed to take the shot and went solo, but still quickly showed a disadvantage. In the end, in order not to reveal their cards immediately, they decided to join forces against the enemy. Both of them performed the Super Blue transformation. In this transformation state, facing Moro, even if they cooperated, they were still not opponents. After all, the last time they lost to Moro was when Chao Lan was transformed. Even though he has been cultivating hard for 2 months, Moro has also swallowed a lot of life, and his energy has increased a lot. So if they only want to fight with the Super Blue transformation, they will only lose worse than last time. Vegeta also walked over and looked at the battle in the screen with a complicated expression. He was so powerful in this time and space, but the enemy he faced was even more terrifying, and he didn't know what to say anymore. "Dad, Uncle Goku." Trunks finished his practice and walked over. He had known what happened in this time and space from Vados before, so seeing that Son Goku and Vegeta were a little confused, he briefly explained to them. Son Goku and Vegeta learned about the Super Game God in Super Blue, and their eyes suddenly burst into incomparably dazzling light.